yeah. All right, and then let me share my screen. Oof, gotta buy a mouse. Yeah, yeah. Don't splurge on it. Like they have mice for like $9 on Amazon. As long as it has a middle click, you're good to go. But yeah. And then share the screen. Oh, there we go. Oof. Stuck at 90%. Oh, on the download, I'm guessing. I guess so. You can probably you can program your pen to do it probably. Yeah, people were trying that last semester and we're having some difficulty doing it as well. So I was like, I don't know, maybe it's not possible. But then also using a pen with Maya can be kind of strange a little bit, but it's doable. I've seen a lot of artists use it as well. I prefer just mouse and keyboard, but maybe that's just because I'm a weirdo. But yeah, or most people do that. My hand hurts using the mouse. Yeah, no, that's fair. Use whatever is like ergonomic for you, you know. But there are a lot of operations that are just kind of easier for like, because I'm left-handed, so I'm better at like using that hand for like hotkeys and stuff. Wacom. I know gamer mouses are good for the hands. Yeah, you can also get a vertical mouse. So instead of your hand resting like this, it's more like that, and then you can kind of do that. My coworker swears by that. We also use little elbow rests on like the desk so that it attaches there, and then you can kind of just rest your elbow on that to make it nice and ergonomic. Because yeah, when we're clicking around so much, it can be stressful on the body, but you know, that's fine. But here's Maya, everyone. This is some nice, good old Maya for you. Y'all can see my screen, right? Y'all can see it? Yeah, nice. It's got this sleek, beautiful, gray, boring aesthetic. So yeah, it's good. It's good that it's kind of a darker tone though, so you're not like blowing up your eyes at like late at night. But yeah, so this is Maya. And I want to just open with, this is the viewport. This main panel right here, this is our viewport. So this is our like 3D view where we can see all of our objects, our meshes, our characters, what have you. It'll exist in that viewport. Yeah, so I'm not going to go over camera just yet. I want to go over some boring menus, you know, sorry about that, but yeah, so if you look at the top here, you have all these menus, and some of these are like plugins and stuff. But each one, if you click on the button, you can see that it folds out, you know, has a bunch of options. You're like, wow, that is a lot of stuff, you know. Don't worry, we're only going to go over like what you need to know in here. The same goes for Zbrush when we open up that too, because Zbrush is even more like overwhelming of an interface. You open it up and it just immediately flogs you over the head with like a billion buttons. You're like, what do I do? Mike, help. And I'm like, okay, yeah, just only use these buttons. But yeah, so you'll notice that these are, you know, pretty hefty menus in here. Another thing to note that is this little fold down. So if you open up this little section, you can see that you get a bunch of different categories. And we're going to be starting off with modeling. And then you'll notice that if you switch these, boom, it switches what these buttons do, what these menu items do up here. So yeah, if you're ever watching one of my tutorials or a tutorial online and they have a bunch of different buttons that they're pressing, you're like, where are these even located? It's very likely that it's under a different tab in here. So animation, effects, rendering, all of those. So it kind of goes through the pipeline as well in 3D. Sorry, I need to hydrate so my voice doesn't explode. But yeah, so we're going to be mostly focused on modeling for the time being, and we'll be using just these sort of edit mesh tools buttons. But yeah, you have right next to that little tab button, you have a bunch of just regular file operations. You have like your save, your undo, your redo. Please don't use these buttons for undo and redo. Please use Control Z. Control Z is it's an amazing hotkey. We should all be familiar with Control Z at this point. And then Control Y is redo. You know, you can always see what the function is, like what the hotkey is in the edit menu, you know. So if you go to edit, undo, you can see it say, oh, it's Control Z instead. Oh, redo, that's Control Y. Repeat last tool, oh, it's G, you know. So get used to those hotkeys in there. I believe I do have a hotkey sheet on Beachboard that you can access, but yeah. And yeah, so that's all of your little like file functions in here. These are different selection modes. We don't worry too much about that because we'll be using a hotkey for that. We'll be using right click to switch between those. These are a bunch of snapping tools, this little magnet. So if you don't worry about what I'm doing, but like if I enable grid snapping, sorry, someone has their thing unmuted and I'm like getting some feedback. Seems to be gone, nice. But yeah, if you turn on grid snapping, you'll see when I move this cube around, it's going to each point on that grid. If I expand this out, again, don't worry about like the tools that I'm using for this. I just want to have this demonstration for snapping. If you do this one, snap to points, it'll snap to the little corner points of that cube. And yeah, so a bunch of different snapping modes. We'll mostly be using grid, point, and then something called live constraint, which is very dope. And we'll go into that. That should be next week that we'll go into that. But yeah, a bunch of different snapping modes. You have a symmetry option. So if you're modeling one side of something, you don't have to worry about the other side. It'll automatically do that. In Maya, the symmetry is pretty dang good, but sometimes it can fall off and then you have to mirror your mesh manually, but that's fine. And then, sorry about that. Let me try to make this. Let me turn that off. And then these are all your rendering options for when we start making our final images, because we don't have to draw anything. We have the computer to draw that for us, and it's super dope. This is just some licensing stuff, pretty boring. And then these are a bunch of shelves. They're kind of just more easily accessed buttons. A lot of them are the same functionality as what you'd find in one of these top menus. So like this, like create this sphere right there. I just clicked that button and it made the sphere, but you can also go to create, polygon primitive, sphere, and it does the same thing, you know. And the same goes for each of these different categories in here, like rigging, animation, like all of these. Like usually there's a button up here or somewhere in the interface that's doing it. So I don't usually use the shelf that much unless it's like a kind of a more specific thing. Like you can see my shelf goes pretty far over here. And it goes into some more tools that are like less used, but like I just want a nice little hotkey for, or like a little button on the UI for them. But yeah, so that's the basics of that. We also have our selection sort of tools over here on the side. And then we also have some move tools, rotate tools, and scale tools. Additionally, we'll go way more into that once we start getting into modeling. Additionally, we have different viewport settings. So this is just like one panel of a viewport right here. You can see this panel. And like this is our perspective panel right there. But you can also get like 4 different views you see. And then these are like different camera angles. They're kind of straight down from the top or straight from the side. This will become more clear when we're modeling. But yeah, so that's accessed over here. You can also press space in the viewport and swap between those. And yeah, so that's just basic viewport stuff. Down here is the timeline. That's for when we're animating. We won't touch this bad boy for probably like 14 weeks. 13 weeks. Yeah, it'll be like 13 weeks before we touch that again. And yeah, this stuff doesn't quite make sense yet. I'm just kind of briefly going over it. But once we start using it a lot, it's going to sink in and be like, oh, okay, now I know where this button's located. It's half the battle. It's just knowing where the buttons are located for stuff. And finally, on the right side of this, we have a bunch of different tabs over here. But you're probably on channel box by default. And if you can't find channel box, it's always visible in one of these buttons up here. You'll see, like, as you mouse over these little icons, you can see in the bottom left, it'll say like what that button does right here. So you see, this is, you can like look down at that bottom left and be like, oh, that's tools. This is attribute editor. This is human IK. That's for like that's like a built-in Maya rig. But yeah, mostly what we'll be using is channel box, modeling, toolkit, and attribute editor. And yeah, I'll show you how to use those later. But yeah, that's the basic UI. It's just a basic rundown on the UI. You have just a bunch of shells with a bunch of buttons that are tied to functions that you can normally find up here. There's some snapping tools, your basic move, camera tools, and then a bunch of settings for the actual viewport, and then finally some other stuff on the right for different values. But we'll see those later. But yeah, any questions about that? I'm sure there are questions about that, but they'll become more clear as we go. But any questions just as of now?
How did you open the viewport thing?
And how do I reset my viewport?
How do you reset your viewport? Oh, interesting. What is your viewport looking like right now?
It's just a blank gray thing. I think I hit something by mistake, but it's I can't get it back to normal.
Like, is it just like, is it like over here or something?
Yeah, it looks like that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll show you how to fix that in a bit once we go over camera controls and stuff.
And how did you move? Sorry, go ahead.
It also looks like a wireframe. I don't know. I think I hit something by mistake.
Oh yeah,
Get it back.
You probably hit 3 or 4 or something. You probably hit 4, so you can press 5, and then that'll fix that for you. But yeah, we'll go more over that in a little bit when we actually start doing some modeling and stuff. But yeah, any other questions like for this sort of stuff?
Actually, so you said we had to have a mouse with like a middle button, because I'm trying to move my screen the way you did just now.
Yeah.
But I can only go forward, backward, like the distance. So
exactly. Yeah, that's why we need the middle click, because middle click is bound to that. Yeah, I'll just go over camera controls right now because everyone's most of these questions about camera controls. So basically, all of your camera controls are on left click, right click, and middle click, and the scroll wheel. So scroll wheel zooms in and out, you know, and then normally left click and right click, they just do this sort of stuff. But what you need to do is hold Alt, or on Mac, I believe it's Command. It should be Command. I think every single hotkey for Windows is like, instead of Alt, they use Command, the Command key. And so if you hold Alt or Command and left click, you can start rotating that around. So you can start rotating that plane, as long as you're in a perspective viewport. So if I was in one of these other ones, one of these like top-down ones, you'll see that it's like orthographic views are currently locked. Oh, you know, so what you need to do is press space, then press space again with your mouse over that perspective camera, and then you can start rotating around there. Anyone having issues rotating around the scene like this? No? All right, sounds good. And then, yeah, so zooming in and out is scroll wheel. However, there's also dollying, which is like physically moving the camera rather than just zooming in and out. And the way you do that is Alt and then right click. So you can see that it's dollying that camera. And then finally last is pan. So we're just kind of holding middle click and again Alt or Command if you're on a Mac. And you can just straight up move that around. So yeah, for everyone that has a mouse with a middle click, try just kind of zooming around this sort of gray 3D zone and get comfortable with this. If you want to spice things up, just go over to your poly modeling tab and just make a cube, and you can just kind of look at that. Just, oh yeah, just get a look at every single different face of that cube. delicious cube. If you get lost like in the viewport, like if you're super far away and you're like, I have no idea where I am, what is this? You can always press F and that'll focus you back on your selection. You can just straight up see that in the scene. So yeah, just take a few minutes to get comfortable with that camera, you know. Let's get zooming, guys. Let's just see every single part of this grid, every single part of that cube. Yeah, this is gonna be very important because you're gonna be spending a lot of time manipulating that camera, so you need to have that like on muscle memory. That's why it's good to do your homework kind of throughout the week as well, so you can kind of get that muscle memory into place. And it'll make things much faster. Make things nice and quick for you. Anyone having problems moving that camera around? Again, you need that middle click, or if you could somehow bind middle click to a button on your pen, that'd be nice and useful as well.
I'm sorry, how do you zoom out again? Because I like clicked F and it's zoomed in, but now I'm trying to like zoom out.
Oh, yeah. You can scroll out, or you can hold Alt and right click.
Thank you.
And it just kind of goes in and out right there. Yeah, just take some time on that. I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back. Keep moving that camera around.
Mike,
What's up?
I
Hi
just
there.
checked, and my tablet does work with the middle click.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just go to Wacom Preferences and set the button on your pen, and that's all you need to do.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, some students last semester were having issues with that, but
Okay.
I'm glad you could fix that. But yeah, I'm hearing some messages.
Yeah.
My masterpiece. It's beautiful. Very good. Very good. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Yeah, also, yeah, if you guys ever want to share some art, feel free to post it up in the art sharing channel. You can see a bunch of the past stuff from other semesters in there. But yeah, I always like seeing you guys kind of communicate with each other. Oh man, nice pupper. National Dog Day. Yes. Heck yeah. So yeah, just get used to that camera movement. And then we'll talk about modeling stuff. Ooh, very nice. I'll give you guys another couple minutes to get used to moving it around, getting used to focusing and stuff, exploring those other camera views. These would be useful when you're actually like modeling stuff. Like if, because you'll notice that each of these, like if I start, let's get a sphere. I'm gonna do some stuff. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Yeah, like these other camera angles are good for seeing just a complete planar sort of view of whatever you're modeling. Like if you're, imagine this as like a sort of turnaround for a character, you know, like a 2D character. You can just see straight up what that front view is, and then what that top view is, what the side view is and stuff. And yeah, so that's what they're mostly for. Because they don't even have perspective with them. It's just completely like a cross section of the character almost. It's like perfectly straight. Because like you'll notice that if I take one of these And then let's get a bearing on where I'm going here. So if I move this like super far away in this perspective, notice how this bottom one that's like looking straight down this blue axis right there. Like if I just move it along that, this one's looking straight at that and it's just not changing at all. So it doesn't care about perspective at all. Like there's no horizon line for these camera angles down here. That's why it's good to model with perspective and like kind of constantly be orbiting around whatever you're modeling, you know, because you need to see all of those dimensions at once. And it's good to like kind of check your proportions in these other views.
I'm sorry, how are you doing that four screen thing again?
I'm pressing space, but you can also find the buttons for that over here on this left side.
Oh, okay.
But like pressing space is just so fast to snap between those modes, you know, so that's normally what I use.
So when I like try to mold my thing, it sometimes clicks on the space to like move it, and sometimes it doesn't. Like, is there a specific way? I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
Basically, the arrow sometimes pops.
Sometimes the arrows what? Oh, what's that? What?
Oh my God, I got stuck. I think my internet messed up.
Yeah, it stopped mid sentence, I think. Is what happens to the arrows? Are the arrows not there or something?
Yeah, so sometimes it works when I click on it, and sometimes they just it just gives me the points on the corners. So how do I like specifically target for the arrows?
Yeah. So I mean that's a good transition because let's just start modeling, and I'll tell you all about that sort of stuff. So hopefully you guys got a decent little sample of how to do the camera movement and stuff. But what Lizette's talking about is moving these objects, like moving these around. Now you might be on just selection mode, which is this top one. But let's start fresh, just for anyone that's like doesn't have anything in their scene yet. Let's start by creating a cube. You can either press this little poly modeling thing or go to create, polygon primitive, and then cube. Make sure you turn off interactive creation though. Because interactive creation, if you turn it on, I'll show you what it does. It's kind of lame. It's like drag the base on the grid and then pull up for height. It's like, okay. And then you drag up to, like, it's kind of cool, but then like none of it's on like the middle of the grid or anything. And I don't know, it's just kind of like off. It's not precise at all is basically the problem with it. So I don't like doing that. I'm not about that. So I go to create and I turn off interactive creation. And then I got to go back into the little UI right there again and let's just make a cube. Boom. Now I think Lizette is describing something called Verts. I think they're selecting Verts on accident, but I'm not sure. What color is the little wireframe for the cube for you, Lizette?
So mine was white because I started off with a sphere.
Mhm.
And then all the time, because the sphere has multiple rectangles inside,
Yeah.
it would just click on the corner of the rectangles instead of the inside.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a little talk about components. Basically, every 3D object is comprised of little points floating in space, and you can see that this cube has 8 right here. And this will be even more visible if I press 4 on my keyboard. Boom. And you can see just the wireframe. So this is what we call a wireframe. It's pretty understandable why it's called that, because you can only see the wires that make up the object. And they aren't called wires, they're called edges, And if I go back to 5, we can talk more about that. So if I press 5, that brings me between wireframe and shaded mode. There's some more modes that we're going to use later, like when we start putting colors and stuff on these objects. That's when we press 6, and then you see it's shaded display with texture maps. And then 1 through 3 are some different settings 3 is like a smooth preview. So it kind of automatically smooths the object that you're looking at. But I want you guys to be modeling with 1 on. It's okay to go switch back to 3 for like a little preview to see what it would look like if you smoothed it. But let's just keep that at 1 for now. I don't want it to get confusing. So make sure you're on 1 and make sure you press 5 for shaded. And so we got this cube, right? Remember, you can always make a cube by going to the create menu, polygon, cube. And let's talk about more about those verts that we were going over. So if I hold right click on an object and then go over to vertex, boom, you'll see that we have I am colorblind, so I'm probably going to get the colors wrong, and the zoom quality is probably obscuring it, but there's these little magenta points, and then you can click on each of those and you can move those around if you want. I'll show you the move tool in a sec. I just want to keep talking more about vertices and stuff. So these are called vertices or verts, like VERTS, and every single, like 95% of the 3D things you've seen are made up of verts like this. There's a few other things in 3D that like aren't, like for instance, the first Pixar movie, like Toy Story, was not made out of verts like this. It was made out of something called NURBS, which is it's a little bit of an outdated thing at this point. I don't know anyone that models in NURBS at this point. You might use the curves for sort of other things, but you don't really physically model with them anymore. It's pretty much primarily verts. But yeah, so you can click on all of these, and you can also hold right click. Remember, that's how we got into this verts menu. You can go instead to edge, and you'll notice that it highlights whatever you're kind of mousing over, and then if you left click, it's just going to select that component. And so these are the edges, and you can also select faces. Boom, 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 boom. You can select all of these. You can also drag select in here. Sorry, my computer's like, it always lags when I start recording a lecture, so I might drop out for a little bit, but I'll be back, you know. But yeah, so you can drag select over things. You can also, while we're going over selecting, let's go back into vert mode. So hold right click and go to vertex.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Trying to right click to hold it, but the little verts option isn't coming out for me.
Let's see.
Maybe it's because,
is it this? Is it showing complete tool and select?
well, it's not even showing me anything. Like maybe it's because I'm working from a laptop and I don't have a mouse. Like I'm just trying to right click.
Oh, all right. You're on the trackpad then?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Does the trackpad have a right click function?
It does.
Really? And it's not working with this?
No, because you said to hold it down, right?
Yeah, you gotta hold it.
Yeah, no, I tried holding it down over like a corner or just the cube, and like nothing comes
Oh,
out.
damn. Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure why.
yeah, you might need to get a mouse to use then.
Okay.
Yeah, just go on Amazon, get like a $8 mouse or something. Just make sure it has a middle, like a scroll wheel, and then you should be good. But yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sorry about that. I
No,
wish I
it's
could
cool.
help you out with that. People were mentioning that if you have a tablet, then you could use the right click on the pen for it. But yeah, again, that's it's optional, you know. But yeah, try to get a mouse. It's usually the easiest way to control Maya. But yeah. All right. So yeah, so we're talking about selecting. So if you go into vert mode, you could left click on any of these bad boys, and then you can control plus shift, and you'll see that like the little mouse icon has a plus on it now, and you can just add to that selection. And then just holding control and left clicking, that's going to remove from your selection. Also keep this in mind, because I see students doing this all the time. If you spent like a good amount of time being like, okay, I'm selecting all these verts perfectly so I can get the best movement. And I can just move whatever, like I can move this around, you know. And then you accidentally click off, you can just Control Z and it will like get you back to that selection. Like I see so many students like click off something and be like, okay, I need to redo that selection now. It's like, no, just you know, Control Z a couple times and you're good to go. So yeah. So Maya remembers like what order you were selecting things in. So if you accidentally click off, then you can always Control Z and get that selection back and keep selecting whatever you wanted. All right, so that's verts, edges, and faces. And we're about to start moving these around. So before we do that, does anyone have any questions on verts, edges, or faces? Any questions on
Yeah. How did you get to the like? How did you open like that verts option where you could select it?
Yeah, I'm just holding right click, and then I continue to hold it, and you can see it draws that little gray line, and then it highlights what you're gonna what option you're gonna go to, and you let go of right click. Boom.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, no problem. And yeah, so there's a bunch of options there. There's also like all these options down here as well for later if you get into that. We don't click many of these buttons, but sometimes we do. Any other questions?
Yes. So sometimes when I try to like click on the face, just the face to like maybe move stuff around, like the shape or anything like that, it goes automatically to the corners, and then I can't really.
Goes automatically to hold right click and make sure you're in face mode.
Face. Oh, okay. Thank you.
And then it'll. Oh, nice. Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions about vertices, faces, or edges?
One more thing. How do you select multiple vertices, like multiple corners?
Yeah. There's a few ways. So if you go into verts, and I wanted like just these two right here, I could just drag select over them. If you're drag selecting through something, be mindful that like if I go into my wireframe mode with 4 again, like you could accidentally select something back there. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, so you can select multiple that way. You can also just click like 1 and then hold Control and Shift, and then you can add to that selection.
There we go. That's what I was asking.
Control and then left click is remove from selection. And yeah, so you guys are gonna have to get pretty comfortable with just like selecting multiple components like this, like these verts and these edges and faces. I'm getting some Discord posts. How the heck did I get these intersections? It's making deforming the cube more fun, but I don't know where they came from. You might have done a few different things. It looks like you basically just made more geometry for yourself to push and pull around. We're gonna be getting to that in a little bit. But yeah, awesome stuff. I like to see the exploring. I'm always down for you guys to explore stuff in 3D. But yeah, so that's just components. If you want to move the whole object, remember you can always hold right click and go back to object mode. And then it'll be highlighted green, so you know you're selecting that whole object. You know, it's moving all of that at once. But yeah, any other questions about components? All right. All right. So let's see. Next on the list. All right, so to have a little bit more fun with these objects, we can start pushing and pulling those verts around, because that mesh, that polygonal mesh is just made up of a bunch of verts, right, at the end of the day. And the way we start messing with that, like you see this manipulator that I have in here, we access that with these buttons, or more specifically, I'd rather you not use these buttons at all, because you can use W, E, and R. So if you press W, that's move mode. If you press E, that's rotate mode. I don't know why E is rotate and R is not rotate. It doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. And then R is scale. So you can make that big boy, or just a little tiny boy right there. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, just remember that's W, E, or R. Those are those three. You can also press Q to go back into selection mode, but usually I just default to just going to move instead of the selection tool. I don't really press Q that much. But yeah, so W, move, E is rotate, R is scale right there. And I want to be clear that you can also do this with all of these verts and all of these edges. If you go into edge mode, you can just start scaling that edge, scale it down. If you go into vert mode, you can scale those as well, scale them down. You can move them, you can rotate them, and it will always be around that pivot point that you have right there. You can do that for all of these shapes. So just start messing with something here. Bring in a cube, bring in a sphere, whatever you want. Start just pushing, pulling that thing around.
Oh, I know there's a lot of questions. I'm sorry, but
No, it's perfect.
I don't know what I keep clicking that it accidentally makes it turn black and blue, and it kind of separates the shapes from each other. I don't know if you know what I'm talking
Black
about. I
and
took a
blue.
screenshot.
Is it this? Does it look like
Yes,
this?
it's that. Yeah.
So you're going into vertex face mode. Don't go into vertex face mode. Like just go either into vertex mode or face mode. I
So
find
did you-
vertex face to be kind of useless as a selection mode, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but is there like is there like a key? Because I'm using the alt mode to like turn everything around, but all the time I click or like double click, it just kind of turns it into that. So is there like a shortcut that I'm accidentally clicking?
There might be. I've activated a shortcut for vertex face mode myself, but
Okay.
that's interesting. Yeah, that you might be pressing something that's like changing the component selection. Let's see, maybe it's in the modeling toolkit.
Okay.
UV selection. I don't. Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, just be careful about that. Make sure if that happens, just reset it back into like vertex or face mode, like that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Don't want to backseat the lecture though. Silly Keely. Yeah, nice. I like seeing it. I like seeing the exploration. There we go. And yeah, so just mess around with more objects. Yeah, feel free to grab whatever you want on these things. Just start pushing and pulling them. So yeah, a lot of options to mess around with there. We'll get more into modeling in just a second, but I just want to give you guys some time to start messing around with the different components, like the verts and the faces and all that stuff. And object mode as well. It was a square at some point, I swear. Not anymore. Rachel, your question was a while ago, but if you're still in wireframe mode, you can always press 5 and you'll find your way back. And move camera around, fixed it, nice. It's giving me Sims 4 vibes when I'm on creative mode. Yeah, oh, absolutely. This is like apex of Sims creative mode. Cue Minecraft music. Turbo Smooth, someone's hyped about Turbo Smooth, very nice. Or in my, it's called smooth preview, but yeah, same thing. Same thing. Yeah, Mac it's 2 fingers. PC 2 fingers sometimes works too. Trackpad too. And the right click hold worked. Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I've had people use the trackpad before to right click. The hard click, whatever it's 2 fingers. It's 2 fingers hard click, whatever it's called. I think that. Yeah, I hope that worked for you, Samantha. And then, like, move thing.
So I was able to pull up the verts by doing Command F9 because I like started looking around the interface and I found out through like I think it was Modify or something like that. Like I found the constraints and then the verts came out. So now the verts are out, but I don't know how to push and pull them. Like that's the next thing I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, okay. So you're able to get into this mode, you're saying?
Yeah,
Wait,
finally.
What is F9? Whoa, wait, no, that's G.
I did, yeah. It was sorry, Command F9.
Control F9. Let's see. Okay, all right. So yeah, that's that's strange.
So I'm here now, but I don't know how to push and pull.
Also, like if you want to get between those, you can pull up your modeling toolkit. Do you have this tab on the right hand side?
Yes.
So you can use these buttons with like left click to swap around. So you see this is like edge mode. This is face mode.
Oh, I see.
This is vert mode. Yeah, and then to move them, you press W to go into your move tool. It's a separate tool that moves them around, and then you can just start pulling on these little vectors, these little.
Thank you so
axes.
much.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. But yeah, also, yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to just ask me during the class, Also on Discord, if you like after the class is over, if you're like doing some more experimentation, I'm always down to answer questions on Discord. How do I delete a shape? Good question. So hold right click and go into object mode. Then make sure you have the shape that you want to just delete forever highlighted, and then press delete. So again, you just left click on whatever shape you want, make sure you're in object mode, and then delete. And while we're deleting, I might as well show you some other cool stuff. You can go into face mode and you can delete faces as well. And you're seeing inside that mesh right there. Be careful when you're doing this, you don't want to wreck your model beyond what you can fix, But yeah, you can delete a bunch of stuff on the model. You can also delete edges, but you'll notice that when you delete an edge, wait a second, Maya's struggling. You'll notice that when you delete an edge, like if I go in and I delete this edge, boom, the vert is still left in space right there, and that's not good. We don't want that. We don't want just like a free floating vert like this. Like notice how there's only these 2 edges going away from it. We don't want that at all. So instead what we do is you just go in and select that vert and then delete. If I try to just delete a regular vert like this, boom, you see how it's like it's not like deleting, it's just impervious to it. But as soon as I delete these 2 edges, then I can delete that vert, So that's just more component editing like that. Here's some Discord stuff. Pikachu, witch hat, nice. Oh wow, oh you guys are going wild in here, hell yeah. First step towards a unicorn, I think. This reminds me of Evangelion, very nice. Screaming geometrically. I'm liking it. Yeah, this is good. This is hilarious. I like it. Me with my cube in donut. Very nice. Yeah, so just get used to that for a little bit. Yeah. I'm going to jump into actual sort of modeling techniques in just a second. Oh, and then we'll go on brick in 10 minutes from that, and it'll be dope.
How did you do that thing where you deleted like a vertice on like
Yeah,
on that
so
cylinder?
yeah, on the cylinder, let's do that again. Remember, you can't delete a vert if it has like 3 edges connected to it. So you see how this one has 4 edges connected to it?
Yeah.
That center one. You can't delete that one. What you need to do is first, delete these off. And then since it's only 2, boom, you can just straight up delete that.
Oh.
So yeah, verts work a little bit differently than the other components in that they're not as easily deleted, but like faces, you can just cast these aside easily,
Gotcha.
But yeah, same with edges. But yeah, verts they have like that one little rule where it's like if there's more than 2 edges connected, then you can't delete it. I found out shift lets you yank like the middle of the face right out. Yeah. Oh man, Soap's already talking about we're talking about extruding. Extruding is what we're going to go into next. What command button is it to delete with? Oh, it's the delete key or the backspace key. Either one of those deletes like that. I'm just using both backspace and delete right now. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do one quick little thing before we head off to DINs. Sorry, I'm like also trying to sell one of my file cabinets at the same time. And this is legit like how we start modeling things now. So if you can pop open your modeling toolkit, you're looking for this sort of looking menu right here. You want to see all these buttons. Again, these buttons exist in other places in Maya, like you can find them under mesh tools, but this is a nice little place where you can see them all. And our common, this is what we call subdivision modeling, because you'll notice that we can't make complex shapes like this. Like, like Thanos is made of like that character model that is Thanos, that's like made of millions of these like faces, right? But like we only have like 8 right here. What is this? So what we need to do is get more of those. We need to subdivide this model and start messing with that, so the first tool we're going to go over is multi-cut. So everyone delete whatever random object you've made. I'm sorry, I know you've grown attached to it, but get it out of here. It's child's play. So what we're looking for is that modeling toolkit and multi-cut. So everyone click on multi-cut. Boom. And you'll see your cube turns blue. I would like you guys to use a cube, by the way. I know they have some other fancy shapes, but there's a reason they call this box modeling and like subdivision / box modeling. It's the same thing. Oh, a delete is hold right click and go into object mode and then just press delete or backspace. Both of those will delete out of your scene. But yeah. So I'm just going over this right before we head off to dinner. We're kind of cutting it close. I'll go. Don't worry, I'll go back over it when we get back from DINs. But yeah, I just want to go over this real quick so you guys can explore during dinner if you're bored.
How
but
do
yeah,
you open that right menu where all of those options that you're hovering over right now are?
Modeling toolkit. So you see these tabs on the very right side of the screen.
I don't have those for some reason.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you
if you squished it to like so you could have zoom next to the thing, you might have to make the window bigger because I ran into that.
Oh, really? You can also find the modeling toolkit on mesh tools over here, and then it's this first button up here, and then that'll hide it, and then
okay,
yeah, it'll show it up right there again too. But yeah, so we're looking at modeling toolkit. What we're going to go into is multi-cut. So this is the first one. So if I click on multi-cut and I have my little cube in the view, I can hold control on an edge. So you're only going to be cutting across edges, and see how it's kind of drawing that little fake line where it's like, oh, this is where I'm going to be kind of adding some geometry, We can just left click And then that'll make that in space right there. So now I have a new line of edges, also known as an edge loop, because that edge loop goes all the way around the cube. And you can just mess around with those points now, right? Well, I'm going to
Sorry,
control
can you
Z.
do that one more time?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna control Z and redo it anyways. So you have your cube, and then you click on your multi-cut tool, and then you hold control. And then you get that edge loop kind of going around the entire model. What you can do with that is actually a lot. Like you could potentially model anything with this and like 2 other tools. Like we're a third of the way there. Of course, it will be like kind of slower than other methods, but like you can model pretty much anything. And I'll show you guys a preview of that in a little bit. But if you hold, so while I'm holding control on this, if I hold shift, I can add it, you'll see it'll snap in increments across that edge. And that's really useful because I can get like just a nice halfway point. And when we're subdivision modeling, we always want a point down the center for the sake of symmetry. Like a lot of objects are symmetrical. So if I was modeling a face, I'd always want a line of symmetry down directly down the middle of it. And if I go into Maya crashed. Okay. Stop everything, everybody. This is our first crash of the semester. Everyone applaud Jasmine. I want to warn everyone, this will happen a lot more. This will happen a considerable amount more. So everyone be sure to keep saving. Also, don't just file save. Don't just do file save up here. I always do file save scene as. So I go to file save scene as whenever I'm saving, because if you're saving a scene and Maya crashes while it's saving, it can corrupt that save file. And I've lost 16 hours of work from one of those bad boys. I was doing a bunch of overtime and I forgot to save. Maya crashed while I was saving and I wanted to die and it was awful. But yeah, so save scene as. I cannot, like, one of you in here, I don't know who it's going to be, is going to not do save scene as, and something's going to fuck up at some point, and it's going to be really sad. But yeah, please do save scene as. I see it every semester. It's always heartbreaking. So do that like every 15 minutes. That way, like.
So do save scene as instead of what?
Instead of regular, just save scene, you know?
Okay.
If you press Control S, it's just going to overwrite whatever file you're working on, you know? But one time I was like, I had a bunch of changes. I had like 16 hours worth of changes, and then I just pressed Control S, and then Maya crashed, and it was a bad day. It was a very bad day. But yeah, so that was multi-cut. I'm going to go over it again, and then so I'm clicking multi-cut. I always like to just get some nice subdivisions across the middle of that. I usually start with one on each side, and you can start modeling whatever, So like if I start shifting these in, one at a time. Notice that it's not moving both at the same time. I would need to activate symmetry, but I don't want to show that just yet. Whatever, I'll do it. In here you have symmetry. I would just turn on Object X. I'll go more into that later, so don't worry about that right now. But like, yeah, you can just start pushing on this stuff, and like we could get like a sort of like backpacky shape, looks like right now. My laptop fan is so loud right now. Oh no, Sydney. Oh no. I hope it can hang in there for the whole semester. The most intensive part of the class is Substance Painter once we get to that. So yeah, so look at that. I'm just kind of using these points to sort of make a backpack shape. And like, if I want more curviness, I can add a multi-cut and then kind of start scaling in. I'm just selecting these points. I know I'm going a little bit faster than you guys are used to, but I just kind of want to show you the potential. So it's like, if I wanted this edge to kind of curve in a little bit more as well, I could, just insert another multi-cut right there and then just drag through. Move
I'm
this.
so sorry. I'm trying to do a
it's
multi-cut, but I
fine.
keep cutting it like in between and I can't move it the way you're moving it throughout.
Oh yeah. So you're probably not holding control. Like, do you not see that orange line pop up?
Oh, no, let me see.
Like multi-cut, it's called multi-cut because it has a bunch of different functionality in it.
Oh, got it. Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So multi-cut can also do really cool stuff. Like this. Like, see how I'm just kind of cutting across the faces. But I want you to get very careful. I'm going to talk more about this when we get back. But this creates something called a triangle right there. You see this? It's a little three-pointed face, and we want to avoid that as much as possible when we're modeling, especially when we're starting out. You know, it's just good. It's good practice to get nice, clean quads. So look at this bad boy right here. This is a four-pointed face, right? It has like those four verts on the outside of it, and that's what we want to maintain when we're modeling, like especially when we're learning, just because it's really helpful to get into that mindset, you know. But yeah, so multi-cut can do a bunch of really cool stuff like that. You can even start like on like an edge like that and just go in. But yeah, I usually like to make edge loops, you know, and kind of push around this sort of stuff to make the shape that I'm going for, you know. If I select points, is there a way to deselect some without just, oh, all right, we are officially on break now. Officially on break, so come back at 6:45. I'll be hanging around. So yeah, like I'll answer questions if you like post them in chat or something. I do have to move some furniture around, so I'll be doing that and eating and stuff. But yeah, be back at 6:45. Jane, if I select points, is there a way to deselect some without deselecting all of them? Yeah. So Jane, if you have a bunch of verts selected like this, you can just hold Control, and then you can deselect whatever you want. Boom. Each one of these. And you can also like drag through deselect. So if I have all these selected, I can just hold Control and then drag select all over those. Boom. And they're deselected. It's also good to get used to like the idea that whenever you're drag selecting like this, that you're going through the whole mesh. So you got to be careful with this, you know. But yeah. So absolutely there's a way. It's very nice.
One question before I go to dinner.
Yeah.
You know how there's like in the top right, there's like you can snap it to like the front, side, back, and like it's like a little cube that has all of those angles that you can really quickly just get to.
Where are you saying that?
Usually, I mean, before I pulled up like the multi-component tab, it was like in the top right. I don't know where it went though, so I was gonna ask you about it, but maybe it's supposed to disappear, I guess.
No, I think I'm not sure which part, what's snapping to what?
Yeah, so it was like this little cube on the top right that said like front, side, back, top, bottom on it, and you could press that little thing and it would.
Oh, you're talking about the view cube, right?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
How do I get that back?
That'll be in display, heads up display, and it'll be called view cube in there somewhere. I think they reintroduced it in that 2020. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to use that.
Thank you.
All right. All right. See you guys at 6:45. Again, I'll be in the area. I am going to be moving stuff around and eating, so I might not be able to answer questions if you ask them, but I'll do my best. But I'll for sure be back at 6:45. All right. Yeah. See you guys. But yeah, I'm pecking away at this little backpack sort of thing. Let's see if I can get the chat in a nice spot. Whoa. There we go. But yeah, I'm looking at this backpack right now, kind of giving it some more detailing. remember like I have this shape outlined and I'm working gradually, you know, until I get to like some nice smaller detail, but like you don't want to go too crazy with multi-cut and holding control and clicking, because like it can just really end up getting too dense. Like say I cut like a few up here, you're like, oh man, now this part's like so much more detailed, you know, like I can get like cool details in there, but like it's annoying to work with. So we always work very basic and then work our way up. So that's what I'm doing here. And I can move this stuff up and kind of get more rounded. Remember, I'm working in Symmetry, and that's Object X. We always want to be working with Object X Symmetry when we're modeling our stuff, because primarily because if you look at your manipulator, if you select your object and press W, you can see that we have the Z axis, right? This blue axis. When you click on it, it unfortunately becomes yellow, but yeah, this blue axis, we always want that to be along that axis of symmetry, you know? So if we have like a video game character, they're always facing forward on that Z axis. Their nose is always pointing along that blue axis right there, you know? You can also see that axis super tiny down here. It's really, really hard to notice, but like I get the question a lot of like, where am I in Maya? You know, because like the UI is all gray and stuff. Like this viewport is all gray where we're looking at this. So this is just a nice little kind of way to ground yourself. I believe if you guys have the view cube open too, then that also shows where you're facing. But yeah, and then yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of polish this form up a little bit more. And I want to do a little, I want to add on a little, like a little pack on the front. You know how backpacks always have that like zippered off area? Let's get one of those. Now the tool that's best for that would not be multi-cut, right? So I'm like, okay.
I'm sorry, Professor, before you move on, because I don't wanna sidetrack you. When you are you holding shift to also connect the two sides like that, like what you're doing right there?
Right here.
No, so before, you know how you were moving one side of the backpack, but it was inflating like both sides?
Oh
Because
yeah,
of multi-cut?
that's the symmetry. That's symmetry. So see how I have symmetry enabled over here? Object
That's
X.
right. Okay, thank you. I'm
So
sorry.
no, that's all good. Thank you for the question. If you, wherever you click, you can see that it's selecting the other side as well. Like it's highlighting those points. So if I go into edge mode, you can see it's selecting that one as well. So
Okay.
yeah, and you can work without symmetry as well. That's perfectly valid. But yeah, I like symmetry just because it's a nice little preview of like how we'll end up in the future. You know. Sometimes
Okay, cool.
symmetry can fall off. It's not like infallible. It won't stay perfectly symmetrical all the times. And when that happens, then you just have to mirror your object. But we're going to cover that in next week's homework. So yeah.
How do you turn the symmetry
Okay,
on and off again?
Thank you.
So symmetry, you can enable it either up here, or if you're in the modeling toolkit down here. Either one's going to work for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. But yeah, so I mentioned that you can make pretty much any 3D object with like 3 tools, right? Any object at all. And those tools are, one's multi-cut, because you need to be able to insert those edge loops. The other, the one that's like perfect for making like a pocket on the front of this backpack is called Extrude. And someone mentioned it earlier when they were holding shift and pulling something. See how if I hold shift under one of these little arrows, one of these directional arrows, it says extrude. So you can use it that way, or you can press Control E, and then it's going to pull that out. So both of those are valid. But before you get too excited about that, be very careful when you extrude, because this is a problem that I see a lot. And I did it the exact same way back in my community college back in 2010 or whatever. If you press Control E or just extrude in general, you need to immediately move it or undo it. Because if you don't, like I just pressed Control E and then I clicked off. And I'm like, okay, this looks fine. This looks perfect. Like everything is where I was, like where I put it previously. But if I move like this face, see how it has that extra geometry hiding there? Be very careful about this, guys. Be very like cognizant of when you're extruding out a surface. And then, yeah, you have to move it into its proper spot immediately, or just undo it entirely. And you can see on your little command line down here, when you're undoing it. So that was undo move with Control Z again, that's undo select, Control Z again, that's undo select, and then undo poly extrude. That's what you're looking for when you're undoing it. And yeah, you just need to be very mindful of that. Because I've seen so many homeworks get turned in with like if I just select this ring right here of faces and then press Control E, and then yeah, you'll just see as soon as you start moving these verts around that you have duplicate geometry on top of each other. Like see how that looks like one vert, even in wireframe it looks like one vert. But if I press 5 and go back into shaded and I start moving one of those around, like, oh man, it was 2 the whole time. So yeah, I always call those just hidden verts. They're very annoying. Just extrude is what creates those, like the majority of the time. So yeah, be careful of that. 1 second, let me get a drink of water. Very nice. All right, so but extrude is amazing, right? Because if I wanted to make a pocket right here on the front of the backpack, and I pulled this out, like it's pulling all the rest of that geo out, right? It's pulling all this geometry out with it. I just want this part specifically to pull out. Like if this was like a nose, I would do the same thing. I would just extrude that out with Control E, and then boom. And you get these extra parameters here too, and you can kind of just drag those around and see what they do. Like offset kind of expands it, shrinks it. Thickness kind of pushes it away from the mesh, brings it back in. Divisions adds more along the actual extrude itself. You see that? So you can go super high poly. We don't want to do that. Again, we want to stay as low poly as possible. But yeah, so lots of options there. You can also hold Control and like left click drag on these to like get like even more minute control over it. But yeah, so there you go. We got like a nice little pocket there. If I wanted to actually make it like sink in, I could use extrude again, right? So I can extrude in. Let's do offset a little bit inward right there. And then Control E again. And I want to move these inward, but see how that little axis that it's on is kind of going inward towards the backpack. I prefer that to just go straight down. So I'm going to press W to go back into my regular good old move tool that we've been looking at. And you have a little pocket right there. Nice little pocket. Simple. So yeah, that's the power of extrude. So get used to extruding. Extruding is very important. It's one of the most pivotal modeling tools. One of the most pivotal ones in the business. Again, I said there was like 3 tools that you need to model anything, and that's one of them. That's one of them. So we've gone over multi-cut, which is the other one, and then extrude, which is also super powerful. And then finally, the last just overpowered tool in modeling, in box modeling, is target weld. So target weld, you can find it right here in the UI. Boom. And when you click on target weld, right there, you'll see that you can highlight different verts. And if I click on them, a little orange circle pops up, but nothing happens. But watch what happens when I start messing around with this stuff. So say I don't like this, say I don't like how this like little shelf pops out here, right? I can use target weld and drag from one vert to the other. Boom. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then I can do that right here. I can do that right here. Very nice. Now it did leave this little triangle right here. If we look at this, this used to be a quad, so it's not ideal, you know. But yeah, so that's how you get rid of verts like that. That's how you like weld things up. Say for instance, now if I accidentally, let me turn off symmetry. Say I just accidentally went in and boom, deleted a face, and then I liked it like that, and then I was like, let's change that. We could fix that by just clicking on an edge instead of a face, extruding, and let me move this out. Boom. So I just extruded that edge. Remember, that's Control E. Remember, you can extrude faces or edges. You can't extrude verts. Don't extrude verts. It's not allowed. How dare you? And then target weld. And you can just target weld that edge across and it fixes that. Boom, right there. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Any questions about those three tools? So that's target weld, multi-cut, and extrude. Any questions about those? Because those are very important, and I want to make sure you guys.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time extruding anything. Can you run through that again?
Absolutely. So extruding works best on faces and edges. You can select any amount of faces that you want to extrude and press Control E, and then that immediately pops up this little gadget right here. This little manipulator is what they call it. And you can just drag on this blue axis, and then it pulls it away from the mesh. You can also change these parameters as well and get some interesting effects.
Oh, that's what I was doing now.
Did that work for you now?
Yes.
Nice.
Because so it's the little inside yellow square thing that messed me up, I think.
That thing right there?
Yeah, where you can pull it in and out and it like changes
any
the face
direction.
that extrudes.
Yeah. I don't use that. I usually only use the blue axis when I extrude, or I immediately press W and go into my default move tool so I can like control it really precisely along an axis, you know. Like it's very rare that I'm moving points with just this middle drag thing, you know. I'm usually like aligning my camera to the front and then being like, okay, this is where I want it here, and then here, and then I align it in this other direction. That's why you'll see me flying around the model a bunch. That's why I want you guys to get used to like camera controls, because they're pretty useful in that respect.
Okay, I think I got it. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, and give target weld a whirl as well. Target weld's really important too. If you accidentally do that like extra extrude and you're like, wait a minute, there's bonus vertices on this thing. To get rid of those, you just target weld and then boom, bang, pow, bang, right there. And it's fixed.
Oh, that's what that's for. Okay.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah, if you can't undo the extrude, then you can just target weld to fix it.
Can you go over edge loop one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. So making an edge loop, you're going to use multi-cut, and you could just manually cut that edge across like every single edge in here, but it's slow. We ain't about that. So if you hold Control and then click, boom, it pops into existence. And yeah, don't go too crazy with that. Again, you want to start gradually and sort of work your way through it, but yeah, it's a really nice tool there. I hope it serves you guys well. But yeah, just play around with those tools for a little bit longer. Try to make just like some sort of object from like the real world, like a cup, like a fork, any of that sort of stuff. You guys want me to demo any sort of object? as long as it's not too insane. Like how I would approach a certain object.
I actually have a question. So
Yeah.
I'm playing with grabbing the edges and just kind of moving everything around.
Yeah.
When I try to grab edges, what it's doing is it's grabbing the line that's also parallel to it instead of just the one. How do I turn that off?
It's parallel to it. Parallel how? Like over here? Or like across the mesh like this? Like, is it symmetrical? Like, do you have symmetry on?
It's symmetrical.
Yeah, so you probably have symmetry on. So you can just go over here and then just make sure that's set to off
Oh, okay.
in here. But yeah, let me know if that fixes it or not.
It does. Thank you.
Nice. Very nice.
Is there a reason why my because I'm at multi-cut, but I want to go to extrude and I keep clicking extrude, but it says that it's not even letting me click it. Like it doesn't even turn blue when I want to.
Okay, yeah, so that's because this button, so like they kind of work a little bit different, right? So multi-cut, you go into multi-cut mode, you know, but when as soon as you press extrude, it's going to try to extrude whatever you have selected. So first what you need to do is select your faces and then press extrude, and then it will do the
okay.
extrude. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. I agree, like in terms of UI, you know. You'd expect to be in like, oh, extrude mode, and then I extrude this, you know, but yeah, it's just gonna, as soon as you click that button, it's gonna immediately be like, you're extruding now, go. Like, okay.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
This is a really simple question, but how do you move the camera around again?
Yeah, Alt and left click. Or if you're on Mac, Command and left click drag.
Oh, okay. Alt and left click. What if I'm trying to move like up and down?
That's gonna be middle click and drag. That'll let you move up and down. And remember, you do have to be in the perspective view. You can see what view you're in down here. Like it'll say like persp for perspective.
It says perspective view.
Nice.
And it doesn't, when I press the center button, it just gives me like a selection.
Oh.
Instead of
selection.
moving me up and down. Yeah, like a rectangular selection is what it does instead of moving me up and down.
Are you holding Alt while pressing middle click?
Oh.
Yeah. So all the camera is on Alt. So like as soon as you press Alt, you're gonna be, think of it as like camera mode, you know.
Okay, I got it now. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. But yeah, just keep exploring those tools, y'all. Make sure you're opening your modeling toolkit and like trying to use multi-cut, extrude, and target weld. Those are the big three. Those are the big three over there.
I'm having an issue with the symmetry and the multi-cut tool.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like
oh, is it like, okay, are you trying to multi-cut and then it's like, you can't do that there?
No, it'll let me do it. So I have like the plain old cube, and then so it'll set up two symmetrical intersections and they look just fine.
So
but like
you have like just this default cube like this?
Yeah. And then I have the symmetry turned on, and then so yeah, it'll look like that, it'll look fine, and then I'll do that and it'll look okay until I turn it, and
yeah,
okay, going all the way around.
So yeah, remember, so this is kind of an annoying little gotcha, you know. So the first step that you have to do once you get a cube is turn off symmetry, and then control, and then I usually just middle click to put an edge loop right down the center of that. Because basically Maya can't figure out the math of both of those at the same time without a line of symmetry on it. It's like, dude, there's no symmetry here. Like, what are you trying to do? So it gets
Okay.
really confused. That's why it does that. Alternatively, like you can do, like as soon as you create a cube, you can also do this. So I just created a brand new cube right there. And then if you click your channel box, you get all like the values of it, and you can go to the inputs, little poly right there, and then just put 2 in all of these subdivisions. And then you get a nice little divided up cube. That's usually how I start like a cube. Mine keeps saying error. Jasmine, what error does it say in like that little? It should have a little bottom bar that says error, and it will say something in there. I think you can just select and control paste that if you wanna do that. You can just paste that into the chat. But yeah, I'd really like to know what error it's throwing up, so I can try to help you out.
I'm so sorry. I already forgot how to move my camera side to side. Like it's just I know how I press Alt and I can like, you know, turn around, move it up and down, but I forgot how to like move it side to side. Like that. Like
yeah,
that.
that's the middle. That's the middle mouse button.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why yeah, it's pretty important to have that middle mouse button available for that.
Okay.
Mine's is saying error, no components selected for symmetrize. Oh, are you? Because you might be doing. Jasmine, are you trying to use edit mesh symmetrize right here? Are you trying to use that tool, or are you trying to just turn on symmetry? Okay, so symmetrize is gonna go through and try to make whatever you've moved around symmetrical. But like what we're looking for is instead just starting with the default, like the default regular cube, and turning symmetry up here, symmetry off, make that object X, and then you can start moving it around symmetrically. If you have something that's like really nice, this is like a bonus tool. We're gonna cover this in next class actually, but if you have something that you want to have be symmetrical, you can also just straight up mirror it. 1 second, let me actually make this not symmetrical right here. So like say you have this interesting shape and you're like, oh, I want this on both sides. You can just go to mesh and then mirror, and that's mirroring along, looks like on Y. So we want to change that to X, and then change the direction to positive, and there you go, boom, right there. So then it's mirrored for both sides. But again, don't worry about that tool right now. I don't want to overload you guys' brains. That's for next class. How do you make a pocket again? Great question. Great question. Let's start with a cube. Again, I'm going to modeling toolkit. I'm going to go to multi-cut, and I'm just going to press Control and middle mouse click, get that nice subdivision in the middle. And then let's get 2 pockets on the outside of this. Boom. Bang. There. So let's make this a pocket. So we pull this shape out with an extrude, right? Because we need some geometry around this, right? I'm just going to press Control E to extrude. You can also do Shift and then drag, but I guess I'm just a boomer at this point. I love Control E. That's what I learned with. And then select these new faces, because we pulled this geometry out from the rest of it. Select these new faces and then Control E. And you could just bring this down, but that's kind of that's kind of a harsh edge right there, you know, like it's like looks like razor sharp almost. So what I would prefer to do is, so let's undo that extrude. I'm going to extrude and offset it a little bit, just offset it inward. You could also alternatively just, you know, press R and start scaling it a little bit on the different axes. If I just scale it all on all axes right there, you could really get some nice shape out of it. And then you just pull that down. I'm going to go to scale again. And there you go. Oh, nice little pocket. Nice little pocket. And I want you guys to really practice getting used to like how these manipulators work, because all these three directions right here correspond with a direction in space, you know. So like if I'm moving, if I pull on this red arrow, it's going to be only on that red axis, which is the X axis. If I pull on this, again, I'm colorblind, so I don't know what color that is. I think it's green by default. If I pull on this green up arrow, it's going to be in Y. If I pull on the blue, it's going to be in Z. And same for rotation. Like you can rotate specifically on these axes. So you can rotate on Z, X, or Y. And it's all going to work. You can scale on all of them as well. And remember, if you just drag from that center cube, it's going to go on all axes possible. On all axes. And we're gonna talk more about that when I cover the homework, you know. But yeah.
One last time, can you do the very last two steps of the pocket where like you make the shape in
absolutely.
that face and then drag down?
Yeah, let's get that. There you go. So are you at this step yet or no?
I'm at this. I'm at like I've extruded it from the side, but then there's no like
Yeah. There's no more subdivisions there. Okay, so it's like this. Very nice. So the next step is you want to select these top faces, right? Because we're gonna basically extrude those and shrink that extrusion. So I'm gonna press Control E, and you could use offset, or like I said, you can scale on like all of the axes right there, and then scale back on this one and sort of fix that and get it kind of evened out. And then with that same selection, because you just want these two faces, you know, you can just press Control E again, and then drag that down and scale it, you know, okay, right there.
I know you probably already went through this. I'm so sorry. It's hard to go back and forth through Maya and then here.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's kind of hectic. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were making the pouch, I remember that you said that do not use Control E like right away because it'll create this gap of like it'll make more dimensions, and to be careful with it because it'll create more. Yeah.
Be careful with extruding, because like if I select this face and I press Control E and then I let go of it, like I just click off of it, like Maya already extruded that face. So like you could start modeling for like a 20 more minutes or something, and then you'll go back and then you'll see like if I go into vertex mode, like that just looks like one vert, right? But if I click on it and I move it, you're like, oh, what the heck? There's another vert in here. So that's the danger of it. That's what you should be careful for extrude.
So how was it that you made it so that it could be smooth, so that the shapes would follow along with the object that you're moving? So when you were taking out the pocket, you said you made it go so that it kind of the shapes above it followed it. How did you do that?
So like if I had this side, wait 1 second, let me undo that extrusion. There we go, just so you guys can see that even I am paranoid about extrusions. Here we go. So if I have like a curvy surface like this, let's get some more cuts in here. Like this. So you're saying like I'd have a surface that's like curved like this, right?
Yes.
And like how do I get the pocket on that? You can just do, it's really the same workflow. Like I'm just gonna select all these faces, Control E, and then I'm just gonna pull out on that axis. if I didn't like how it bulged out like that, like see how it follows the contours of the mesh, like see how that's kind of, it's kind of growing outward. If you like that, then you can just keep it like that. But if you don't, you could press W instead, which is your regular move tool, like the good old basic move tool. And you can just pull it straight out like that. See how they're not splaying out anymore. They're just kind of moving in that direction.
Yeah.
So you have those options there. So that's how I get it to follow that shape.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Also, don't apologize for asking questions. I love questions. They're the best. It's literally why I'm here. And also everyone else probably has the same questions and they just don't even know it yet, or they are just remaining silent. So yeah, thank you for asking questions.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
It is for the good of the class. But yeah, so start making some stuff, my guys. Start making it. Try to make some cool.
How is it that you got that window on the right side that has all the tools and stuff?
This one, that's Modeling Toolkit. So you can find that, like if it's hidden, you can always go to Mesh Tools and then do Modeling Toolkit right there.
Okay.
There's also a bunch of really tiny tabs over here that are kind of important, like Channel Box and Attribute Editor. They're sideways, so they're kind of hard to read and they're like crammed up against the side, but yeah, they're very important though. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. No problem.
I think I may have managed to like segment an edge. Can I combine that into like, because I try to click on it and it's like clicking the middle of the edge and not the whole thing. So is there a way to combine that again?
You probably have a rogue vert in the middle of that. So if I click this and then I press enter to accept that like small cut, you'll see that I have an extra vert in there for no reason. And then you can just go into vertex mode, select that bad boy and delete them.
Oh, thank you.
Oscar, I lost internet and now I'm so lost. Oh, Oscar, where were you? Where was the last where was the last step you were on? I mean, we're not really following steps. I'm just showing you miscellaneous tools. Michelle, fantastic. Taking notes is a good idea in this class. I'm not a note taker just by, I don't know, I just don't take many notes, but like a lot of, I lost connection just about when we came back from break, just got it back. Oh, okay, yeah, that's not too bad then. I'll go over we just covered 2 additional tools. But yeah, I'll go over those again right now. But yeah, I don't take many notes, but a lot of my students do, and I think it is important because everyone learns kind of differently. Some people are like learn primarily from note taking, so just be conscious of like what type of learning you do. I live in the dorms and Wi-Fi has been touch and go. It's lame, but it's cool that they're letting you back in the dorms though. That's dope. All right, Oscar. So we covered the multi-cut tool, right? So if you go into multi-cut mode, you're gonna be able to create some subdivisions here, some new edge loops. And you know a little bit about that one. You can also do cool stuff like this where you can just cut individual pieces and it's really free form. But it's dangerous because you'll run into situations where you make shapes that don't have good topology, which is a keyword we haven't really talked much about, but we will in the future. What we basically want is for all of these objects to be made out of quads, which are these 4-pointed faces. What we don't want are any triangles. We want to stay away from those. They aren't dangerous. They won't destroy the model, but they will make some things a little bit more annoying to model. But what we definitely want to avoid are these. We don't want any 5-sided faces. It's off limits, not allowed. Get out of this classroom with those 5-sided faces. We don't want those. So yeah, just make sure you don't do that sort of stuff. That's why I teach the edge loop version of multi-cut first. That way it's impossible to make a triangle or a 5-sided face. But yeah, the next two tools that we covered are Extrude. So if you select a face or an edge and then press this extrude button, it's going to extrude that edge immediately. I know it looks like nothing happened, but if you start to pull on one of these manipulators, you'll see that it basically just pulled out that shape from the geometry. You know, it straight up pulled that shape away from it. So it's a very powerful tool. You can see that I made this pocket entirely with extrusions. I basically pulled out that shape and then Control E'd, and then you get a bunch of these parameters in here. You can offset those, and then Control E again. Boom. So a bunch of those. I'm so sorry, but I got dropped as soon as you started talking. Oscar, no. Oscar, please. But yeah, so basically what you missed are, yeah, that's no good. That's no good. You might have to like watch the majority of these like after the fact. That sucks, dude. Internet's a necessity these days. But yeah, so basically the two tools that you missed are Extrude and Target Weld. I'll just extrude this face right here. You can only extrude faces or edges. And so select what you want to extrude first, and then you can extrude it outward. And you can grab this piece right here, and then it extrudes out, and you see you get all this bonus geometry. It's very, very important. Very important tool to know. You can also select all of these and extrude these, you know. And you can immediately go into your regular move tools and scale tools if you want. But yeah, so that's extrude. Be very mindful of when you extrude. As soon as you press Control E, please move it. Otherwise, you could get scenarios where you're like, oh, I extruded. Okay, and then you move on to another piece of the model, but then you'll find that you had extra vertices right here. And so like it's going to cause a nightmare for you trying to clean up your mesh. There are ways to solve that though. And one of the best ways is with the next tool, which is Target Weld. So if you have a bunch of these edges, you want to target weld some of them together, boom, you can press Target Weld and go into Vertex, and boom, you just seal these up right there. What you confused about, Jasmine? Let me know. I want to help you out.
Mike,
Yeah, so
just a quick question. I was working on something over the summer. I was practicing, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm making a lightsaber hilt,
nice.
but the top of it's giving me fits. Is it okay if I log in on my second computer and maybe share it and show you?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good. What do I do after multi-cut? Just experiment around with Extrude, Jasmine. And the way that you use Extrude is you can find it in your little modeling toolkit down here. And you can go into, remember, you can only extrude edges or faces. Primarily faces are what you're going to be extruding. So if I select all these faces down here and I click this button, it pops this up, but you really only need to just pull out on that blue edge right there. And then you have a bunch of new faces to mess around with. Are you able to get Extrude working for you, Jasmine?
Sorry, how do you bring the offsets for extrude?
For extrude, to see those, that's like when you first press Control E, they'll pop up. So if I look at these ones right here, if I press Control E, you'll see they pop up right here. And then you have to use them right then, or they're just gone forever. You can't like, because if I click away, boom, it like destroys that menu.
Okay.
But yeah, there you go. Jasmine, were you able to get that multi-cut working? Oh, I mean, sorry, the extrude.
She said no.
Ah, dang. Okay. What's causing you problems with it, Jasmine?
Okay, I managed, I'm in your session for the second time because I have to run Zoom on my old laptop and Maya on the new one.
Okay.
Can I show you?
Yeah, 1 second. Jasmine needs some help though first.
Yep.
I wanna help Jasmine first. Yeah, Jasmine, so all those tools are in your modeling toolkit over here. It's on the right hand side of the screen. It's like the word's kind of flipped on its side right there. It's kind of hard to see. If you can't find that right there, you can always find your modeling toolkit under mesh tools at the top up here under hide or show modeling toolkit. So let me know if you're able to locate that tool panel, because I want to make sure that you can visually find them. Nice, you found them. Okay. So next, I want you just to take a cube or any of these shapes. You remember, you can always make them just through the Create Polygon Primitive menu. You can create any one of these basic shapes, you know, and then yeah, start using that multi-cut on it. Start using Extrude on it, and start using Target Weld. Any of those tools. Do you want me to go over those tools again? I'm happy to do that if you want.
Can you please?
Yeah, absolutely. So for these tools, let me move this little backpack out of here. So the problem is like think about, as I was saying before, like every 3D object is basically made out of these, like made out of these shapes, you know, and you can essentially take a box and make it any sort of shape at all. But like what we need is more geometry on this, right? And that's exactly what these multi-cut, extrude, and target weld tools will allow for us, you know? Like if I want to turn this box into a sphere, I would need to multi-cut. And I'm going to press Control and Shift. See how Shift gives me like a little bit of precision there on that. Like it's kind of incrementally going across there. I can just click any of these bad boys. Boom, bang, and I'm just getting middle points on it, you know? And then I can move this inward. You can do whatever with it, you know? And then now that you have these verts along the middle, sort of retaining that shape, you can sort of start to make more sloped shapes right here, you know? And then it'll still follow that. So basically on like a model like something that you'd see in a Marvel movie, it's going to have millions upon millions of these verts, like just so many. And it'll be like subdivided like this, you know, like it'll be just so dense. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to keep it nice and light. Don't worry about that at all. But yeah, that's the point of getting this, like, more of this geometry in there. So that was with a multi-cut that I made these ones in there, and I was holding Control and Shift, and you can do that even more. You can get a nice round shape that way. I'm going to do multi-cut again right here.
And when you're moving it around, you're using Extrude, right?
I'm using W. So so that I just click multi-cut, Control, Shift, left click, and then I go back into my move tool at this point, because if I try to select things right here, it's going to just start multi-cutting, and I don't want that anymore. So I press W. Boom. That brings me into my move tool, and then I just click what I want to move around. Oops, right there. And I just held Shift. I just clicked one and then held Shift and left click the other to add to that selection, and then you know, started moving this stuff around.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, and you can get as defined as you want. If I wanted this other side to be nice and sloped, I could do that as well. Right here. There. And then this is like kind of a mailbox shape. So then if I wanted to make the inside of that mailbox, right, like I'd have to select all these faces and then extrude. Extrude is going to allow me to kind of add more geometry there, right? Because we need like that lip of the mailbox to sort of retain that shape. So we need to add geometry with extrude. And we can use offset, or we can just scale with R. Remember, you always have your W, E, and R buttons right there. And you can just bring that inward and then extrude again and push that deep in there. So then you have, you know, little mailbox shape right there. And yeah, so that's kind of some little basic uses of extrude and of multi-cut. Do you guys? I'm super happy to go over all this again if you guys want. Sid on Discord, how did it turn all black? They have this sort of black, sort of almost looks like a butterfly knife or something. Basically what that means is that you're seeing the inside of the mesh. So you see how mine's all gray. It's all nice and boring and gray. What you're seeing is the inside of this. So if I take this face and I delete it with the delete key, see how this is now black in there? We don't want that, because we're basically just describing the outside of all of these shapes with our vertices. So if you're seeing the inside, then something went wrong. So yeah, so you might have like something, something's like flipped around in there for sure. You can also accidentally see that too if like, let me insert an edge loop right there. If I take this edge and sort of pull it up through the shape, you see how I'm now seeing the backside of that edge that I just pulled through. So you can, that's also how you can get this. So basically, instead of doing that, I would just pull this outside one, you know. Yeah, I think I did that. Yeah, that could definitely be the case.
While you're on it, can you move the inside part with it?
Yeah. So what I would do is, since it's kind of hard to see both sides, I would press 4 to go into wireframe mode. And then I would just line up these two edge loops, you know, it's because I have this interior one and this exterior one. So I would just get those lined up. so I don't have that sort of like pushing through effect, you know. And then I would just take both this bottom one and this top one and move them there.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Jasmine, how's it going over there? Did you are you exploring multi-cut and extrude and target weld? Yeah, finally got it. Nice. Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. That is what I like to hear. Yeah, so just get used to what those are doing, because it's gonna be really important for the homework. In fact, let me look at the homework.
Can I ask something?
Oh yeah, always.
It looks like, so when I used the multi-cut, I restarted from a cube.
Mhm.
And it looks like when I use the multi-cut vertically, it's fine, but then I use it horizontally and it warps like the cube in a weird way that it's protruding on either side.
Oh, weird. So you might have what might be causing that could be a few things. Let's go into my multi-cut tool. So select your multi-cut tool, make sure it's highlighted blue there, you know. Do you have, under this cut/insert edge loop tool, do you have edge flow selected or no? It should not be selected.
Oh, it's selected.
Yeah. So that is a cool tool, and I'll show you what it's for. It's for more organic shapes, basically. So if I go into this one, and let's just delete this, and let me focus on the object so I can rotate my camera nicely. Basically what that's for is if I go into multi-cut mode and do insert with edge flow, as soon as I put in another subdivision right here, watch the silhouette of this shape right there, right? Just watch that. Boom. See how it beveled out? So it tries to like, it scans the rest of the mesh and it's like, ooh, how can I make this sort of a more organic beveling in here?
Okay.
Same for this, like if I do it up here, boom, you see that?
Right.
And it is pretty cool. I do like that, but sometimes you just need to have it disabled, you know? Sometimes it makes undesired
Just trying to make
stuff.
sense of the cube.
Yeah, and it was like this cube, it's going in every direction here, and it just got so confused.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. I'm gonna get a drink of water. And that happens a lot because talking a lot makes my throat all sore, so. How did he smooth out the edges again, like in the mailbox? Yeah, I was just subdividing it with my multi-cut and then moving the edges. So like, let's make a new cube. Boom, bang. Like I just made that subdivision with the multi-cut, and then I moved these down. I cut right here. Oh, I have that stupid little like insert with the edge flow thing on, so let me turn that off. Now I was just making subdivisions in here. And then I was going into edge mode and pressing W to move. And just sort of refining that shape. That's what like 90% of the modeling is just like setting up the edge loops and geometry, and then just spending so much time kind of polishing and refining the shape with your move tool / like rotate tool or scale, you know. There you go. How do you do the edge mode again? Oh yeah, so to switch to any different component, like a vert or an edge or a face, you just hold right click and then go to whatever you want, vert, edge, or face. You can also find it up here. So you can like select them in here, and you'll see that it's swapping through those selection modes as I click these different buttons as well. You can also do multi-component, so you can select like anything at once. That's a little bit dangerous though, because I don't want you guys selecting all of that and then like extruding like a vertex or something weird. Like, so be careful with that. I want you guys to like kind of know the difference between them, you know. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
So I'm trying to do the edge mode thing, but it won't. It will just move it side to side. I won't be able to. I'm not able to like just move the, I guess the vector point or.
Oh, okay. So let me go into edge mode and try to like simulate what you're talking about. So if I select this edge, you're saying it's only going this way or something?
No, it's not even doing that. Like it's kind of like when you just press W and it just kind of moves the whole entire object one side to another.
Oh, so it's doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. Is your model green?
No, let me see. So I have to go to edge mode and then press W. My model's yellow. I didn't get the green.
Your model's yellow. Ooh, press B.
B. Oh. Okay.
Did that fix it?
No.
Does it look like
geez.
Does it look like this sort of yellow?
Let me see. Yeah, it looks like orangey. Yeah.
So do me a favor and press B. Just the letter B, as in boy.
Yeah, let me see. B. Soft select mode?
Yeah, you might be in soft select mode because like watch what happens when I move it. See how it's like kind of bringing the whole thing over? That might be what's happening.
Okay.
So pressing B toggles that on and off.
Oh, okay. So let me see.
So select that edge and then press B and let me know if it like brings it back to that singular edge.
Okay. So let's see.
This program is humbling me for real. Yeah. No, Maya is you know, it's strict in what it wants, you know. I've been trying to patch this empty spot. Please help. Never mind. Bridge worked. Oh, Soap's already exploring more crazy tools. Nice, making a triceratops. Very dope. But yeah, Lizette, were you able to get that working?
No. Do you mind if I share my screen real quick?
Yeah, go for it. That's
Okay.
I love that. It's the best way for me to see what's going on.
It says that the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yeah, it like automatically does that. 1 second, let me enable it. I also have to stop sharing mine because I can't watch other people's when I'm sharing my screen for some reason. Multiple participants can share time simultaneously. There you go. All right.
Okay, cool. So let's see.
Show me what you got going on.
So this is what I have. Don't look
Yeah,
at the back.
that looks like the soft select mode.
But then when I try to like move it, it just moves it like this. Like
So do me a favor and press B, and then just try to move it.
oh my god, okay.
Yeah,
That's so weird. I was doing that before. So if I press
Well, you have extra geometry in there. Oh, I see it. You can fix that with
Is that
target
why?
weld. That might be part of the reason because like Well, the reason it was moving the whole thing was because you had soft select mode going.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
And I'm going to show you guys more about soft select in next class, I believe. That's when that's scheduled.
Oh,
But yeah.
okay.
But yeah, now you can
This makes more
select
sense.
individual ones.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
Natalia requests, how do you do edge mode again? Let's share my screen. And yeah, you can just hold right click on your model. Or if you already have the object selected, you can just hold right click in like the void. And then you can just go to edge and then left click those ones. Oh, you, okay, yeah, you already got it. Nice. Nice. Rachel, you can feel free to screen share your thing. I don't think I see any immediate problems that people are having. So
Okay, cool. Let me
just take a gander.
yeah, let me grab it. Okay, so do you see here at the top?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very minuscule, especially when you get close. When you like pull back and then you get further away, do you see how it freaks out at the top there? How do I fix that?
Zoom in on it. It might have some unclean geometry.
That's possible. This was very rudimentary. This is like one of the only sculpts I ever really did that actually came out. So
yeah,
I'm sure there's still some mess ups in it, but
yeah. So click on the object for me, and then press 4 so I can see the wireframe. Okay, so I think you just need a little bit of thickness on that. So press 5 again. And then go into multi-cut mode.
okay, hold on. This thing is in my way. Multi-cut.
And then cut on that interior close to the top of that little ridge, you see?
On the inside?
Yeah, on the inside of it. Because
Okay,
you want to keep that clean outside silhouette.
Let me flip that around here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Ooh, hold on. Right here?
Yep.
Okay.
And then, Control Z that.
Oh.
You're going to want to insert an edge loop with Control. So hold Control and then, okay, so you have a little bit of unclean geometry here. See how that loop is not completing, but that's fine.
Okay.
So just left click that. And then try, yeah, this is going to be, since it didn't complete, that's a little bit concerning. You probably have some like weird geometry going on down under like where the camera is.
Okay.
But yeah, so then you basically just go press W.
W.
And then double click that edge that you just created. And then press R. And then that should bring you into scale mode. If you zoom out, you should see the manipulator. And then, yeah, scale that inward.
Okay, hold on. Is that the blue one?
That'll be the yellow one in the middle.
Yellow one. Okay.
Because it'll scale on all axes.
Okay, so because it's 3D, if I'm pulling inward, I'm pulling towards myself.
You'll be click the yellow cube and then pull it left, I believe.
Left.
We'll pull it. Yeah, see how it's kind of pulling those inward?
Yes.
And then, yeah, do that and then let go wherever you like it. And then zoom out and then see if it's still as fuzzy at the top there. Okay, it is only in that spot that's messed up. You see how like in that spot that like had that weird geo going on. So there must be some weird issue. You might have like a duplicate vert inside there or something, or like a 5-sided face.
Gotcha. And then out of curiosity, these right here, the little prongs on the top, they're black on the inside. How do I get a face on the interior there?
Okay, yeah, so select that object.
Oh, hold on.
Hold right click and go into object mode. And there you go. And then left click on just the little plug thing. Left click the prongs right there. Yeah, so oh wow, that doesn't have any subdivisions on it. Okay, so go into face mode
Face.
There you go. And then left click that one. Yep, that one right there. And then press Control E.
Control E.
And then push the blue arrow on that inward a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh, wait, pull it out, I guess. There you go, just a little bit. And then rotate the camera, see if that, okay, so then you just need to bridge the interior of that.
Okay.
But yeah, so it basically, that's, whenever you see the black, that means that you're like seeing the inside of that mesh and the outside of the mesh. Remember when in 3D, we're always just describing the surface of it with our verts.
Okay,
So that
I
was
remember.
basically, that was just basically a flat, like a quad, or not a quad. It had like a bunch of verts on it, but it was a flat polygon basically in space. And so you'd need to bridge across there to get like between those two edges and stuff to sort of fill that in.
Gotcha. Okay, and I can just do it on the opposite side and that would fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it.
Nice. You probably need to use like, you could use a few tools to fix that inside spot, but yeah, because you could bridge across the edges, or you could extrude those edges and then target weld them across to where they belong. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna do a little exhibition of what the entire class is gonna entail. So are there any questions that you guys have? Like, are you guys running into a problem that I can help you with right now before I embark on that? No questions. All right. All righty. So, second, let me get another drink. All right. So basically, we're going to go through the whole pipeline, and I just want to kind of visualize for you guys what that's going to be in the programs that they're going to be. So it's going to be, just relax. Don't worry about committing a bunch of this to memory right now, because like you guys should just commit the Maya stuff to memory, but I just want to visually demonstrate like where we're going to be going throughout this class. And this will probably take, this will take a little bit. This might take up until 9 even. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so if we're going to do the whole pipeline of creating like a character, I'm not going to be able to do that right before your eyes, because there's a lot of steps, you know, but plot twist, first step, we're going into Zbrush, baby. So let's go into here. Boom, bang.
Oh, we can't see your screen again.
Oh no! Damn it! All right, let me start this up. I gave you guys fair warning that I will do that all the time. Thank you for calling me out on my hijinks there. But yeah, so we're in Zbrush. Whoa! What? How could you do this, Mike? This is crazy. And 2 all over 21. Let's take a shot every time he forgets to share screen. Nah, you would die. I'm sorry. You would absolutely die. Should we also open Zbrush? No, Oscar, don't worry about it. I'm just kind of, this is just an exhibition of like where we're going in class. And Zbrush, all right, so Zbrush is dope because Maya, we've been messing with like 1 or 2 points, you know, but guess what? Zbrush has a billion points in here. These are all those verts that we're messing with, but there's like so many, you know. And then, yeah, it's just super freeform. So get like, if you're like learning to subdivision model in Maya like we're doing right now, is kind of, it can be a bit of a different way of thinking about things. And then a lot of people like ZBrush because it's more adjacent to something like clay or just like regular sculpture, you know, and you can just kind of define the shape and just start, let me move chat down a little bit so I can turn off some things. And then like it's the benefit of it is that it's just so freeform, right? So I can just start pushing in, making some making some nice little shapes on it. Just, oh man, I don't know. It's really important that I teach Maya like regular subdivision modeling to you guys, because like it's really handy for small trinkets and stuff and hard surface, but anything organic is like amazing for ZBrush to handle instead. Like that's what it's more for. Let's go into don't worry about what I'm going into actually. I don't want to flood your guys' mind even more. I just want to give you guys a little sneaky peeky. And yeah, you'll just spend a lot of time. Look at them cheekbones. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. We'll just spend some time getting our characters done in here. And ZBrush just has a lot of its UI is actually really imposing, because like it has like thousands of buttons upon buttons, but like we really only use like 10 in the interface. It's like, it's wild. And yeah, we can slowly divide this up, make it more face-like, you know. And let me tell you, I'm not going to be getting any good results in like 10 minutes, which is how like the amount of time that I'd spend in here, you know. We need to spend more time for a good character, but just as a exhibition of what we're doing, this will be fine, you know. And we would go ahead and start inserting other oh man, there's so many chat points right there. Let's see, insert primitive. Let's do a sphere right there. And don't worry, this guy's gonna look very cursed, just so you guys know. Well, multiple subdivision levels. Let's do 11. There you go. Boom. What is that? Just a sphere? No, another plot twist. It's a neck. You just put that in there. Boom, bang. This guy has an insane jawline, but that's fine. There we go. And you just do more of that inserting, you know. Handsome Squidward. Yeah, he does have that sort of vibe to him, right? Let's get some arms. I think that anytime I attempt to face makes me laugh. Dude, Monster Factory is like one of my favorite things on the internet. I just love those guys. They're a beautiful set of dudes. They have such a unique sort of comedy too. I feel like it's not like represented very very much anywhere else really. We're just, you know, blocking that out.
So when we make our characters, we're doing ZBrush, you said?
Yeah, we'll be doing ZBrush for that. And then what we use, because I have to teach you guys subdivision modeling in Maya because it's like very standard. But like we'll be doing the majority of the work in ZBrush for our characters.
And then we transfer our character into Maya?
Into Maya, yep, absolutely.
Okay.
So bang right here. And just pretend this is like a full human, you know, like with eyes and actually good proportions, you know. But yeah, so that's like what we're trying to do. And once you get your character looking super dope, you just export, boom, bang. Because you can bring objects between programs pretty nice. But let's see, let's go into course materials. Is the head in the corner how it'll look with polys? No, that's kind of just a little representation of like the planes of the head. It's just kind of for reference to make sure you're sculpting in like the right direction and stuff. So course materials, let's do janky walkthrough. There we go. And let's do FBX. You get a bunch of different file format types like OBJ and stuff. OBJ and FBX are what we're going to be primarily dealing with. Boom, bang. So exporting that guy. Boom, file exported. Nice. And then let's go over to Maya. So I would do a new scene. Sorry, I didn't save my backpack and mailbox. I'm going to import that same guy, you know, because we basically have a sculpt at that point that's like millions of polys, and that's just way too much to like animate and stuff, and way too much to rig. So we need that. We need to basically redo the topology of this guy, right? And the way we do that is by doing another tool that we haven't learned yet, but it's called Quad Draw, and it's really fun actually once you get the hang of it. You just go through and start making a bunch of points, and you just start completing those points, and that's how you get your mesh, you know. This is like industry standard for like any for most workflows. Also, I should have been using Symmetry on this, but you'll basically do this for every single surface on the character again. Just going in and doing this quad draw stuff, and you'll get a nice low poly result with like really good edge flow. And don't worry, I'm going to go into that actually when we're doing this section, but this is just to show you where we're going. So after a considerable amount of hours, you'll end up with something. Let me use a new janky tool that's in Maya called retopologize. It basically does that in like one button click, but its results aren't great. Yeah, let's do retopologize. Target face count. Let's do 1,000. Let's do 1,000 in there. Apply. And then it's going to go through and think real hard. It did not do a great job because 1 second. There you go. Let's close this. Like, look at, first of all, there's no line of symmetry, you know, like, and like these edges aren't just like, I don't have like contours that just go across my face like that. So like, that's why we don't use that one-click button. We usually go through and do it ourselves. But like, we'll end up with something like this, you know, and then we have to UV map this, which means setting it up so we can paint on it. And whoa, okay, my UI just got really weird. Yeah, what's up?
Do you ever have any issues with like someone painting it on ZBrush and then having like dropping it into there and it not being lined up where the symmetry would be down the face?
Yeah, I've had that before. Usually it's pretty rare because by default in that little project that I open with that sphere, it turns on symmetry for us. So it's very rare that like they fall off symmetry, but I've had it happen, and it's kind of annoying because they can't use symmetry then, and they have to like do some janky stuff to kind of fix it. So yeah, make sure you're working with symmetry on when we're in ZBrush, but that's for later. Yeah, no problem. And then I would do a planar map. And let's go. 1 second. There we go. Let me open up. Sorry, don't worry about this. Show you the toolkit. Awesome. I'm just doing this real quick style. There we go. Like when you're watching this part of the video back, just don't take this as the way to do it, because I'm just doing everything super quick, cutting a lot of corners. You'll see it'll get some janky results. We don't want that, you know? We want some good results. We want some delicious results. And then cut, and UV shell. Fold. Unfold 3D. Done. Nice. And then if you've ever seen one of those, if you've ever seen a texture map, you might know where this is going. It looks really cursed when it has like a human face, because we basically have to lay every face out like in 2D, and you'll see like it just looks skinned and really messed up. But yeah, but you need that in order to paint texture maps on it. And so once you UV'd your character up, boom, bang, you can file export that bad boy. And remember, this is just to show you where we're going in the class. You don't need to commit any of this to memory right now. Export selection, course materials. Why is this window just so gigantic? Jeez. And let's do janky texture. Boom, right there. I'm going to close Zbrush because I don't want to bog down my computer. And once you got that bad boy all splayed out like that, but now I just see how much of a newbie I am. Oh yeah, I mean, but you can only grow from there, you know? It's important. You gotta start somewhere. And then we got Substance Painter. So then you'll do new, and we're gonna select the one that model that I just made. Texture. And you can see this cursed model in all its glory. And you basically are able to apply a bunch of cool materials to this character now. It's got this like crazy red steel on it, and then you can add another layer. Let's do black mask right there. Let's give it a black color, and then let's paint on this. Again, not going for beauty here. We're just going to show you the whole process. This guy's very happy though. He's just chilling. And then you give it some like different height. Oh my god, that's definitely cursed. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there like a default sky that's reflecting on his head?
Yeah, there is. It comes in preloaded with like a regular environment. But yeah, so you got that. All this stuff. Perfect. All those textures look delicious. He's just happy to be here. He definitely is. He definitely is. He's vibing. And then let's go to edit. File. Export textures. And man, I wish Zoom didn't like override everything. I have to keep moving you guys around. Let's put this into a nice folder. Course materials, modeling. And then let's do a new folder, cursed textures. Select folder. PBR metallic roughness sounds fantastic. Shiny Deadpool. Yes, 100%. And then it exported all of our cool, awesome polished textures. Then back in Maya, we assign a new material to this guy to kind of load those textures onto him. Excuse me, Maya. Maya, please. I feel like there's something opening off screen on my computer. That's just why. Assign new material. Oh man, yeah. All right, I'll have to do this the backwards way, but integers, shade. So we got our standard surface shader there. Let's apply it to that guy. And let me shrink this down. And then you connect up basically all of your maps that you just exported. So I'm sorry that this like UI is all messed up, but you know, it's fine. I'm gonna find that cursed folder that I made. Let's see, where is it? What? Where did I just export that to? Oh, gosh. Looking at that guy fucking terrifies me. Course, oh, modeling. Okay. Boom, bang, modeling, curse textures. Oh, let's connect up that base color. Look at that texture. Just a creepy ass floating face. Oh man. And then let's go into all these. So we got to go back into let's crank up this weight. Metalness. Let's connect a file here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Exactly what we want. Exactly what we want. And then roughness. Connect that to a file as well. So I'm basically just going through and oh my god. that one's interesting. I like that. And you can kind of see like in the preview material that it's like loading up nicely, and you can see all that interesting like little reflective metal that I have in there. And finally geometry. Let's put in some bump mapping. File. Use as tangent space normals. Bang. All right, raw, normal, boom. And raw right there. Very nice. And so I have this beautiful character made now. It looks messed up in here. That's because I have like metallic, like the viewport doesn't render metallic stuff very well. And then next we need to get this guy moving, right? So we need to put we need to be tech artists and put in the bones inside the character. So we'd hop over to rigging, skeleton, create joints, boom, bang, pow, slam, and then there we go. And then you can see those joints that I have in this character. I'm not going to bother with making a rig for this, but you basically need a rig to drive those joints. But I'm just going to straight up skin bind it with the skin, you know. So.
Mike, I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's up?
If I deleted a face, how do I bring it back in? Or yeah, because I'm trying to like. I cut out a shape and it looks like it's paper cut rather than it having like dimensions. So I'm trying to
Yeah, let me make a little shape. So let me delete a face out of here. There's a few ways to whoops. Something's 1 second. Discarding all those changes. Oh, what the hell? What's going on? It's my second. Mine is really messing up. I cursed my computer too much with this weird character, apparently. There we go. So if I have a hole like this, there's a few ways to do it. I could take an edge, and it's easier if I'm in wireframe mode. So if I take one edge on one side and then another edge on the other side, I can do. Oh, what is happening with my computer? What is this? wow. Wait 1 second. Oh, it's my wireless keyboard. 1 second. Let me plug in another keyboard, I think. This is causing a problem here. Do-do-do-do. Hopefully this works. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's just a weird problem. All right. So, so I have this, like these two edges selected, and I can just do bridge. Boom. And that fixes it. Alternatively, what is happening here?
So you just selected the edges. You have to like complete the shape in order to bridge.
No, just it just bridges across between two edges.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because like if the shape's a triangle, that would still work, right?
Yeah, it would still bridge across. Yeah. 1 second. Something's really messing up with my setup here. Wait 1 second. Like type stuff. Does this work? Yeah, that works. Is Maya the one that's messed up? Might be Maya. Might have to save and close. There we go. Let me close this down. See if I can still type in the chat. Yeah, it's working. But yeah, there's a few ways to do that. Also, if you have like a hole in there, you can double click it, like one of those edges, and it will select the whole. It'll select the whole like hole in there, and then you should be able to just bridge. You should be able to do an operation that'll show you once Maya fully opens up. But it's called fill hole. It's really nice, but it creates geometry that's not like the best. So let's see. Is my file like still messed up? It's super whack. All right, so that seems to be working now. Okay. Oh, shoot. There we go. Oh my God, Maya takes forever to open. Please, Maya, please. There we go. Okay. So let's open this up again. So if you have like a weird hole in the model like this L, you're gonna want to double click this edge like that. So it selects all of that, and you can do, where is it? Mesh fill hole right here, boom. And you see that? The problem is that it doesn't like give you good topology. Like see how this edge is like not complete. What you want to do is then go in and modeling tools and do some multi-cutting there, and multi-cut here, and multi-cut there, you know, and then that fixes it, right? So that's one way. The other way that I was talking about was like with bridging. So if I select, basically bridge goes between two edges, as long as there's a same count of edges on there. So if I bridge that, then I can do bridge again on that, and then I can bridge all of these. So I can select the 3 over here, and then the 3 over here, and I can just bridge across right there. So that's another way to do it. Yeah, does that work? Does that work for you?
Yes. So after like I have that, I don't know how to really explain it because like I have a triangle shape like a pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
And since I cut the triangle shape, it looks really flat. So I'm just trying to give it like dimensions, I guess like what you did earlier with the mailbox.
Oh, kind of like, okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
you have,
cut the hole, but it still looks not flat.
so you have something like that then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, and then so what you do is double click that edge, and then I would just press Control E and then push inward on that.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
You gotta extrude that shape in there. And then
Okay.
if you want to change it
just
more,
the
you
edge.
can always. Yeah. Double click the edge and then just extrude
Go
inward.
Okay. Thank you
Heck
so
yeah.
much.
Yeah, no problem. All right, back to the cursed walkthrough. Let's see. So now we should have, now that we put that skeleton in there and bound it to the guy, we do have something that's yet even more cursed. Then you start animating it. Boom. I'm just setting keys on the timeline. Again, don't worry about this. It's just kind of showing you, where we're going. Then let's just get him to go back in that same pose. This is beautiful. This is art, guys. This is art. And then then we need to set up some really cool lighting for our really cool scene. And it's gonna be through Arnold. We're gonna go lights. I'm just gonna do a physical sky because it'd be nice and easy. Open Arnold render view. Neck crack sound effect. Yeah, it needs that. It definitely needs that. And then you'd start your render. And then you have your nice guy in the viewport. It's very good. It's exactly what we were hoping for, really. I don't know what else you guys would really want. Because we have this. I want to be him for Halloween. But yeah, and then that's would be your final render. Boom, bang. Export that out as an image sequence, and then you'd have a nice polished version of that guy. I don't know, writhing like he is right here. And there you go. That's the whole class. Boom. I'm sure he doesn't visit me at night. Yeah, he has a nice little writhing animation. So cute. What is it with the word choice today? We're just choosing the words that suit him most, you know. That's spooky. Yeah. Yeah, it is. But you guys are gonna make it way nicer stuff than that. It's gonna look cool. I'll have to wait for a few more minutes and I have Satan spawn on my screen. Oh man. Oh yeah. We're gonna get wild in this class. But yeah, so that's the whole pipeline right there. I just wanted you guys to have like a image of like where we're going. You obviously don't have to get this weird with it. That was just like me making a character in like 2 seconds. But yeah, I'm already loving it. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. Can't believe how much your cat loves being held. Mine just hurts me. Yeah. Dude, yeah, cats are just temperamental. Like some of them are like so chill, and then others just like, please stay away from me. I can't deal with this human right now. Samantha's got a freaking, oh, is that a little kitten? That's such a youthful little
Yeah,
fish.
He's 3 months, but
Oh.
he doesn't really like being held unless he's in the mood to cuddle.
Mm-hmm.
I got excited. I see we're bringing our cats out.
Heck yeah. Break out them cats. Break out them cats. All right. So that's pretty much everything for the class. I do want to go over homework real quick. Most of it's just going to be a walkthrough. It's kind of button clicky because there's like some basic functions that we haven't gone over yet. But basically, let me open up the homework file. It's just this. Oh, weird. Wait a minute. Okay, wait, can I use this other keyboard now? The wireless one? Let's see. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Does this work? Oh, nice. Beautiful. So basically, this is going to be the homework. So this homework is due next week. It's pretty simple if you just watch it back. It will get more complex towards this end of it, right? Like this spoon is going to be kind of hard to model. But everything else is basically extruding. Extruding, target welding, you know, multi-cutting. That's basically what this obstacle course is for. There's a few other tools like right here that we haven't gone over, but these are just like kind of extraneous tools that I want you to know. Basically this is what you need to start with, is this little, like this first row right here. And then this is what you need to end up with. And the way we do this is that you start with the little starting cube, and you're gonna press Control D. So that's for duplicate. And then just mess with them. You don't need to like actually match it up with this. You can just scale this around. Boom, bang. Pull these sides out. Duplicate it again. Rotate it. Scale it inward. Boom, do that again. All this stuff. It's just randomness. I just want you to get familiar with moving a cube around, duplicating it, and putting it in its spot.
I'm sorry, how did you duplicate it again?
Yeah, how do you duplicate?
Yeah, Control D. You can also find it under the Edit menu. Control D, and then yeah, so you'll get it basically just duplicates the same object over and over, like whatever you have selected. And then you'll notice that this is just all one mesh right here. Like I click on it and it selects all of it, whereas this is like a bunch of individual things. Again, I have like a really quick YouTube video that goes through this specifically, so you don't have to watch the whole class lecture if you can find that video.
Can you link it, please?
Yeah. I'll have to find it after class, but yeah, I'll link that one over. But yeah, and then you can just select these and mesh combine these. So you see how that's all one object now? So you can do that with anything in 3D, really. Like you can just take two cubes, combine them. The meshes won't be one, like it won't be one mesh. Like these verts are still disconnected, you know? Like I can still go through and like, if I double click them, I can select that whole shape, you know, and still separate it out. But Maya will view it as one object right there, you know? So, and this one is basically the opposite of that. You just duplicate that first one and then mesh separate. Boom. And Maya just does the opposite of combining them. So instead of making it one mesh, it goes through and it finds all like the different pieces, the different hunks of geometry that you have in there, and then it makes its own object from that. And then.
And this file will be like available to us on like Beachboard?
Yeah, it should be on Beachboard right now.
Okay.
And I'll also let me post it in Discord as well, because you guys can download from Discord. Let's go into course materials. Modeling. Let me make sure this is the proper one. Obstacle course 820. 1 second. It should be this. Modified today. Nice. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So let me drop this into the let's drop this into the resources tab. So you guys can grab that. It's made on an older version of Maya, and it should open on your guys' current one, but sometimes it's not like compatible that way. So yeah, you can just download that file and then open it up on your guys' end. But yeah, I'm just going through this like real quick, so I don't want to hold you guys up. But yeah, so I'm going to duplicate that next one, and then I have to match this shape right. And we could do that a few ways, but we can just bring in these edges inward. And if I scale, I can scale it on red and then blue right there. If I select all those outside edges, and then I'm just going to select all these interior ones, scale, or extrude inward with Control E, and then I'm going to press R to scale. Then I'm going to Control E to extrude again, then bring that down. Boom, there you go, nice little cup. And then this one, we could just select all these edges, but there's a lot of them, right? A lot of edges here, a lot of edges. So we could just select one, then Shift double click this last edge, and then do the same over here. Just to select all of this lip, and then we can just do, move you guys for a second, bridge right there, boom, done. So that's definitely possible. You can see that's how that one was done. You could also just do, one at a time and just kind of extrude across like this. Like if I select that whole line, extrude, and then target weld. It's just a little bit slower is all, but it does the same thing. It does the same exact thing. But yeah, so you can just go through and do it that way as well. But yeah, so there's that. And then this one's a little bit of a mix-up. It's very similar to that first cup one, but let's go into object mode and duplicate this bad boy. And then I'm going to go into face mode, and I'm going to extrude this inward. And I'm going to press R to scale it down that way. I'm going to do the same on the bottom. Scale that down. Boom, there you go. Then I'm going to go into edge mode, double click this first edge, double click that bottom edge, and then bridge across. And you get this nice.
You just deleted that middle part, right?
Yeah, I just deleted those middle faces in there. Yeah, that was with the delete key as well. So I just selected all of them. Boom, bang, bang, there, bang, 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 bang. Boom.
How is it that you're selecting multiple faces?
If you hold Shift, you can always add to your selection.
Okay.
But also, if you have something selected and then you press Shift on it, it'll deselect it. So if you want to just completely only add to your selection, do Control Shift, and that's going to add it no matter what. So if I click on these, basically, if you're holding Shift, it's going to reverse the selection, right? So if I select over this, boom, see how it became the opposite. But Control Shift will always add, and then Control is always going to take away.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, just Control Shift and then click all these bad boys, delete. And you could extrude this down and then target weld it to that bottom one, or you could just bridge it if you're a really cool person, just bridge it right down there.
When you say bridge it, what do you mean?
So bridge is it's basically a faster way of extruding and target welding.
Right.
So let me select this bad boy right here. Look at these two edges. So I'm going to select this edge and this edge.
Okay.
And then if I go over to my bridge button and then click it, it's just going to straight up connect those. You see that?
Oh.
And it's going to always do that if you have the same amount of edges on one side as you do on the other. So if I select 4 edges over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I select 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, and then do bridge, boom. See that? How I did that?
Ah.
Of course, I should have lined them up so it like didn't just like tangle over into this spot, because then like what are you going to do with all these, right? So yeah, so just you can just do them straight across like that. But yeah, it's just a faster way of doing extrude and target weld.
But why did you use bridge with like the cube with the hole punched in it? Like what did the bridge do?
It's just faster, you know, because like if I did, let me delete the inside of this. Boom. So this is what we had. So on this bad boy, if I just double click this edge and then extruded, and I could bring that down, and then I'd have to patch this up, right, with target weld. So I'd have to go in here and go boom, bang.
Oh.
How?
So you're adding like topography around the entire thing, including the skin that you ripped away.
Wait, with which tool are you talking about?
Like what you're doing right now, it's because you moved like a hole, like you punched a hole through a shape, and then the inside of it didn't really have like the inside of it was like black. So
Yeah,
you're trying to make it not black.
Exactly. I'm trying, because we need to describe all of that shape, right? So if you have any sort of inside, like you need topology that's facing outward on on the interior of this, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're in a cave, you want cave walls pointing in towards you. Same with that pocket in like those bags that I was making, you know, earlier.
Like there was a floor for them.
Exactly. There was geometry facing. They're just describing the inside of that shape, you know. Yeah. And then the only reason I did bridge was because it was just faster to make that.
I get it now. I got it.
Nice. All right. Then this one is very similar to the others. It's just like fix this little hole in the guy, you know. So if I duplicate this one, move it over here. I can do, you know, pretty much the same thing that we were doing before. I can like bridge across and stuff. But then you have this problem where it's like, oh man, there's like only one span right here, but then there's like a bunch of geometry right here that I have to link up to. And it's like, how do I do that? Like, I can't bridge that. It just looks like that. Then you see how it's like this one edge like is so big compared to the other one. And then if you look at the source one, it's like completely even cuts across, you know. And that's when I would use that fill hole technique that I showed earlier. That's just in mesh, fill hole, and that looks fine, like in the shaded view, like in just regular, you know. But like for topology's sake, we would want these edges flowing across. So just one last step would be to cut across with multi-cut. So I'm using multi-cut right here. I'm not using the control on it. I'm just cutting straight across like this. Boom, bang, right there, right there, boom. And it's
So
fixed.
if we were to fill in the holes without getting rid of that piece in the middle first, would it have like lines going through it? More difficult, or?
Yeah. Like I'll show you some problems that you could have run into if you did it the other way. So let's do this. So if I did it with like just basic tools, I would do extrude, right? So I'd extrude that edge, and then I'd have to target weld these, right? So that part's fixed, right? So it's going across right there. That's basically a bridge, you know. But then the problem is that I have some like overlapping geometry here. See how there's that hole that's still in here? See how that didn't get sealed up? That didn't get connected to that new geometry. So what you need to do then would be multi-cut across here, and then target weld that, right? So I would need to target weld, boom. And then that should be a solid piece of geometry. Let me just click on these and then move them around. Yep. Looking solid, looking spiffy. And then the problem is that on the other side, it still is having that same problem. So I would need to target weld there as well. Whoops.
How did you fill it up again the other way then?
Yeah, I'll show you that one second. Let me just
Thank
connect
you.
up all these. Oh, I also hear someone else talking. Is someone else
sorry.
asking a
I
question?
think it's my background. Sorry about
Oh, sorry. No, I was like, oh, someone else needs help. But yeah, so then that would be completely fixed. But the fast way to do that is to just take this hunk right here. Oops. And use edge mode, right click, go into edge mode, and mesh tools, or mesh fill hole, right there. And then you'll see if I move those same pieces around that had the hole next to them, you'll see that there isn't, like, it's actual geometry connecting all of it, but then you just need to cut across with multi-cut to really fix the geometry there and have those edges flowing across to really fix that topology up. And I'm just in multi-cut, as we've experimented around with before, I'm just left clicking one point, left clicking the other, and pressing enter. Boom. And then it fixes it. Very nice. And don't worry, I'm very I'm down to go over this stuff again for the rest of the class, you know, because this is the homework. I want to make sure you guys know what's going on. Especially because it's you guys' first time modeling, you know. So if I make this castle, you can really just make this out of multi-cuts and extrudes. That's basically all it is. So to get the overall shape of the castle, it's first multi-cut here. Boom, bang. And then I'm going to select all of these faces, right? So I want to make this little tapering shape in there. And what I can do is scale on one dimension and then the other. If you want to be precise and scale both of those at the same time, you can grab this little square on the manipulator. See how each axis pointing out has one in the middle of that. See how when I drag that, it's now scaling on these two axes right there. But if I grab this one, it's scaling on those two, it's scaling on Z and X axis. And I can just pull in both of those evenly. Again, you could just do one at a time. It'd be like, oh, red and blue. Boom. There you go.
So how does it know, like, if that's the center of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does it, when you select all of them, how does it know, like, you're squeezing towards the center?
Towards the center of it? That's a good question, because it potentially couldn't. And it basically figures out where that pivot point is based on every single face that's selected. So if I selected this face, boom, see how it snaps to that face right there? And then if I add a little bit to that selection, see how it's kind of averaging out where that pivot point is? See how it's kind of getting there. And if I scaled these right now, see how they're kind of scaling towards that pivot point, and it's kind of just pulling there. So the reason it knows that it's in the dead center of this shape is because I have a perfectly even cylinder right here. And so when it averages out all those points, it just finds the center of that, you know. And
I'm sorry.
no, it's
Another question.
fantastic. Yeah.
So I see that, like, when you highlight it, it knows you're highlighting the bottom half, like from those two squares down. How does it know where to stop rather than highlighting those shapes and then the squares on top?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's because I'm doing a little drag select right here. You see this?
Yeah.
It is that little box coming through. Can you see that? Yeah. So now when I let go, it's gonna boom. It's gonna select all of those faces underneath.
Oh, so it knows not to cross like that border on.
Yeah,
top?
it's not gonna cross through that edge, because that's a different face then. But if I did this, if I drag selected right here, boom, it only overlapped those two in there. So it's gonna select those.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the question. But yeah, so you can scale on those two, boom, bring it in. And then this is an interesting one. It's like, how do we get these little spikes coming out of the top of it, you know? So if we tried to just extrude those out right now, we would get this sort of shape, right? So if I do this, it's gonna extrude. Oh my God, that's insane. How do we even fix that? I guess you could do some multi-cutting and then like kind of target welding to fix that up. But what we want to do instead is notice how on this one, oops. Notice how on this one we have this little inside edge loop. So we want to get that edge loop going around there, so we have a nice place to extrude these little turrets out of, you know. So if I go in here, there's a few ways we can do it. I could just multi-cut close to this edge, and then scale in, and then we have something like that, you know. So then we could start selecting these. Boom, bang, bang, right there. There you go. So that would work. That's one way of doing it. Alternatively, boom, we can select all of these faces right here, and then extrude with Control E. And then let's bring that offset slider inward, and boom, same thing right there. Right there. And then extrude that up. And then door, very similar method, is we're just going to select this, go into multi-cut, boom. Just give ourselves some geometry to start extruding out there, you know. And then the rest of this would be extrusions. Right there. Extrude. So I just did 2 extrusions. Extruding is just, you know, it's an all-powerful tool. There you go. So that door is just like a bunch of extrusions, basically. Now, spoon, you don't have to model a spoon if you don't want, but I think it's a good challenge for you guys. I think it's a nice little challenge there, if you want to try it. So I'm going to duplicate this cube, because with box modeling, we should be able to start with whatever shape, or we should be able to start with a cube and make any shape that we want to in the world, you know. So if I was to make a spoon with this, I'm just gonna get the handle kind of scaled out here. And then I'm going to make the head of the spoon, you know. So I'm just going to Control E, extrude out that face right there. Then let's do a multi-cut in the middle, because I need to kind of spread that out, right? I don't have any geometry to spread without a multi-cut in here. So let's get that cut into there. And you could pull out this edge manually and then this edge, or you could just select that whole shape right there and then scale it out. Either one's going to work. That's just moving points with W, E, and R, you know. Then I'm going to do another multi-cut right here. Boom, and another one right there. And I'm going to scale with R, scale that out. And you can see how I'm kind of making that spoon shape there with this end. Also, I made a mistake, because usually I forgot to put in that line of symmetry, you know. But since I had these already perfectly symmetrical, I can always just Control and then middle click right there, and it'll cut a line right down the center. In order to get some nice smooth shapes out of this, we need to refine. Always be down to refine your vertex placement in here after you start making new geometry. And then last step for the basic shape is to extrude. Notice how I grabbed both the top and the bottom, because similar to how when I did that, like pushing in on the inside of that mailbox, I need to get both the bottom curved and the inside curving down in there. So I'm going to Control E, and I'm going to bring in on these separate axes right there to kind of get that lip. I kind of want this lip to not like, I don't want it to have a lip on the underside, so I'm going to deselect this top by holding Control and dragging through, and then extruding out. I'm going to do more extruding on this bad boy right there. Boom. There you go. And then I'm going to extrude this inward. And very nice. Very nice. And then the bottom, very, very similar methodology. If you think about it, that shape is the exact same as this shape, just a little bit more basic, you know, but we make it the same way, right? We make it the same exact way. So we're going to select these top faces, extrude those inward. I'm going to scale with R. I'm going to scale that down in one direction. And I'm going to scale in the other direction. Boom. And then, boom. There you go. Bridge. And done. There you go. Oh yeah, no, it's I got lost on the castle one. Yeah, no, it's basically just extruding, multi-cutting, and target welding at the end of the day.
Okay, wait. I have very important question because I've been seeing this. I've been seeing you do this a lot. So you know when you were making like the bowl part of the spoon, right?
Yeah.
And you said, "Oh, I forgot a line of symmetry. Let me cut let me do the multi-cut down the middle." And you're able to do that, right? So immediately after that, you started like adding like I guess they would be called edges, but you added like vertices in between the ones you had already cut. And every time you would do it, you would be able to adjust things on both sides of the spoon at the same time. How do you do that?
Okay, yeah. I just selected I would select these verts and these verts, and I'm scaling right there. So I pressed R, and then I'm pushing it out, and I'm going into W, and I'm pulling it.
Okay.
And I'm scaling it inward, and then doing that. Is that what you're kind of talking about?
I think, yeah, but like when you were doing it earlier, you did it like with like a single, like I almost want to say that you double clicked like an edge, and then like the edge on both sides would change at the same time, I think.
Okay, let me.
Like you grabbed the whole shape, right?
I might have, like if I had, because I can double click this edge and then scale it like that. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so.
Yeah, I wish I knew exactly what moment you were talking about there. But yeah, I think this is what I was. Yeah, I'm sure that that's what you're talking about. I could undo.
Yeah, it was like when you had the handle rectangle and it was still a rectangle for the spoon. You like grabbed that rectangle that was for like the spoon side and you like moved it.
Oh, you're saying like
the whole shape
back before
without
I made
touching the handle.
Back before, like which part, like this right here?
Okay. Yeah. So right, you extrude it.
Yep. Perfect. Exactly.
And then you extrude it out to both sides at the same time. How?
Oh, right here. Oh, I see. That wasn't extruding. So if I extruded outward from here, you can extrude both sides, but you'd have to press Control E, and then if I do this, you see that? See how they kind of pop out? And then to kind of adjust both of them, you'd have to press R to scale.
Right. So that's how I've been doing it, but you did it a different way.
Yeah, I did it slightly different there. Whoops, Control Y. I did multi-cut.
Multi-cut, right
there, and right there.
Yeah.
And then I selected both of these, and then I just pressed R to scale, and I scaled
right there.
like this.
Right there. That. how did you just select like every edge on those
Oh,
two
it's like
lines?
yeah, it's the double click. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so just double clicking that will just okay.
Double click selects a whole edge loop right there. So like if I have a complex shape, you know, I can just do a multi-cut. Turn this back into polygon mode. So I can do a multi-cut right there, and it cut all the way through that. And if I want to select that, I can just double click it. Boom.
There we go. Okay,
Yeah,
because I've
awesome.
been seeing you do that a lot, like throughout this whole day, and I look at that and it's almost like I missed a step.
Yeah, you're like, what is this black magic?
Yeah,
Like,
you can just grab the whole thing, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't even grab like one section of.
yeah.
Okay, cool. I got it.
That's also why we like to model with like not 5-sided faces and not n-gons, because if you really cut up a face like that,
You
it
can't
doesn't-
really go through the whole line. That
exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah. So if you mess up a face right there, you got it, like see how it doesn't auto-complete, and then you're like, oh shit, what's going on there? And then you can't double click that either. Like it'll click everything, but it won't select any of this stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
that's why I want to keep like really clean geometry in there. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that was that. I got that. You answered that question perfectly.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm just glad that you're able to like remember like what part that was unclear. But yeah. So yeah, that I just wanted to go through the homework real quick. I didn't want to like end up running out of time, but like I said, I'm so down to go over this stuff again, because I know I see a lot of people like, oh, I got lost at the castle. Like yeah, like it takes time to kind of absorb this, but yeah, I want the rest of the class to just be open forum for questions, and like we've been doing, you know, and yeah, just make sure that no one's lost. Everyone can. I see. I'm liking these gifs. They're pretty solid. Dude. Oh my god.
I like how you said, let me go check if nobody's lost.
And then everyone's like, what the fuck? Oh man. That's so funny. Oh man. A multi-cut here. Me. Oh man. That's hilarious. All right. Let's see. Back in. Nice. Okay. All right. So, so you guys want me to go through that again, like just like slower speed? Because I'm very down to. I'm very down to.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to address all of the homework so you don't open it up and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
I guess I just have a quick question. How did you make it so smooth for the spoon? Because like it was all, you said I'm gonna get rid of this the smoothness.
Oh yeah, that's the that if you select any object and press 3, it goes into like a smooth preview.
That's right. Okay. Okay.
That's, and then, but I recommend modeling mostly with 1. It's always good to like double check with 3 though, to see how it's gonna hold up. Like, look at this castle. Like this thing's not gonna like, see how it, I don't know, it just kind of looks like some weird sea creature now. But yeah, so things can get strange looking. But yeah, so you can keep everything in 1. It's no matter to me. But yeah.
Okay. Cool, because I wanted to see how you also did that cup thing, but now I get it. Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, does anyone want to see the cup part again? Because I know this one is usually like the first sort of trip up section. Yeah. So basically, I'm just gonna duplicate this first one again. Control D. Slide that over here. And then I want to start making that general round shape of this goal cup, right? Like I want to get that sort of silhouette. So this basically needs to be like a boxy sort of cylinder, right? So if I hold right click and go into edge, I could start to move each of these in, and notice that I'm not moving this middle box, because if I do that, look at that, it's kind of like it's not clean. Like this part came up a little bit, this part came up, because it's moving it in perspective, you know. So instead, if I move on just the blue and the red, I'm set, you know. So now it's like this is perfectly level up here, freaking exquisite. Oh, even more exquisite, delicious, you know. But then it's also kind of slow to just go through and do all of them like one at a time, you know, like grabbing the blue and the red.
Is that when you do the symmetry one?
You could, but you need, since you need all four corners, you'd be doing like one side and then the other, and it still wouldn't be like super it wouldn't be super precise, but it would get the job done for sure. But the best way would be to select all four corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then press R to scale. And you can scale in like that on one and then scale in on the other. Boom.
How are you selecting them all at once if they're like on opposite sides of each other? Because I found when I try to do it, it like lassos everything together. So how
does it like, is it getting like the whole?
Yeah, it's getting like the whole side when I'm just trying to get like the edges of it.
Okay, so what you want to do is just left click one and then shift left click this, shift left click that, shift left click that. Boom.
Thank you.
And so then you have all four of those corners and nothing else selected.
When is this due again?
This will be next class. Yeah, this will be next class.
Okay, so just in case, because I do want to get a new mouse since I can't move so freely. Do you accept late homework just in case? Because like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I understand it's like a limit of technology at that point, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're working on this these like sort of constructions, you can, what you could do is like select something and press F, and that's going to focus on it. So it's like it's not ideal, but like it still will at least let you like look at stuff. Yeah.
Because what I've been doing is I've just gone W and then just moved the entire item so that it comes close to me.
Oh, I see.
Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah.
But it's a little tedious when you have to like move it back or you move your camera a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So that you could use the F to focus. And that might work for you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
But yeah, so once you get all four of those corners selected, then you can scale in on the red and in on the blue, and it's going to look good. Boom, right there. Right there. So you could potentially just go in and move each of those corners in one at a time, but then it's going to be like uneven and not very precise. Can I see those castle tops again? Yeah. Well, I'll get over to that once I finish the little cup. Is anyone confused on how I got this cylindrical sort of shape out of the box?
So you just selected the edges and then hit scale and then push them in. Okay.
Yep, perfect. Yep, scaled. Selected the outer corners and then scaled. It was all in edge mode, you know. Anyone else confused on those steps? I'm completely happy to go over those steps again. All right. Okay. So then the next step would be, because we need that lip, we need that sort of lip geometry, right? And the best way to make a lip in Maya is to sort of extrude it inward, right? That's going to give us, because whatever you select on an extrusion, if I pull this inward, see how it gives us a nice sort of loop right there. See this this whole loop gives us that nice loop around our selection. That's what an extrude is always going to do. It'll be even more clear if I select the faces for it. Boom, bang, right there. So you see that. So it's going to give us a really clear loop around whatever we originally extruded. And so if I go back and let me make sure I undid the extrude. Yeah, nice. I can go in and select all of these. Control E. And if I do that little offset thing, boom, right there. Alternatively, keep in mind I could just press R and go back into my scale tool and then scale that down. And Control E again and push that in. So both of those work. Both of those work real nicely. But yeah. Is anyone confused by that this little cup, this cup one? Because that cup one can be, I feel like this is like a gatekeeper one because we use a lot of those methods in like the box and the castle, you know. It's basically the same, like these top ones. I made that lip the same way I made this lip, you know, and then I just extruded up those different pieces, you know. There. It's basically the same thing as that castle, you know. Cancel the cup. So how could you? Name files. Castle gatekeep. Oh man. But yeah, so if you guys want me to go over that the cup again, let me know. I'll do the castle because it's a bit more intensive, you know.
So when
actually,
we open, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
So when we open this file, we'll just see like the cube next to the shapes, and we just have to try to mimic that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, and be sure to like duplicate it out in case you like severely screw up one of the shapes. That way you don't have to like redo it all over again. You know, you can just open that up. So yeah, just make sure you take your starting one, then duplicate it, and then fix it, and then there you go. Then it's done. But yeah, so let's do this castle again. So can anyone tell me how to make the lip that I extrude these little tower guys out of? Anyone tell me how to set the top of this up to kind
You
of get
select
those?
the entirety of the top face, and then what is it? Expand, extrude inward to like shrink it.
Yep, perfect. Perfect. Control E to extrude, and then R to scale. And I'm just going to scale that inward. Boom. There you go. Can anyone tell me how to make each of these little turrets?
Is it just selecting the surface of it and then hitting extrude?
Yep, perfect. Exactly. Exactly. Right there. Nice. There you go. Can anyone tell me how to get this sort of tapering shape there? This sort of tapering off. Someone that hasn't answered already.
You use face to shift all the barriers. Oh, first you cut it. First you.
There you go. There you go.
First you cut it.
I was about to be like, ooh, forgot a step. But there you go.
Yeah, first you use the multi-cut, and then below the multi-cut, you're going to you're going to shift all the. You're going to use face and shift all the faces, I guess.
Yeah.
And then use the middle one to push them forward. I forget the name of that button.
The R button to scale. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And then you could do this one and this one. to get it nice and tapered on both sides. Or if you want to be really precise, you can do this little box right there, and that'll bring in, you can see on the manipulator, it's bringing in both of those sides at the same time. Yeah, there you go. Dan, you guys are acting like you don't know how to do this stuff. But,
Look, it's one thing seeing it, it's another thing doing it.
doing it, yeah, true. At least like you conceptually understand.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's a good path to be on. Can anyone tell me, someone that hasn't answered yet, anyone tell me how to get the start of this door? So we need this little door. How are peasants supposed to enter the castle to upkeep it, you know?
You do like a multi-cut halfway down, like the I guess it would now be like a pillar, column. That.
Okay. There you go.
So
Yeah.
you do it like halfway there, and then don't you use like multi-cut to like make a little like a small incision so that it makes like a triangle shape?
Almost. Like, are you saying for this door, like the top of this door right there?
Yeah.
It's a more basic tool than that I use.
Oh.
Does anyone else know what I use to make that sort of triangle shape? I'll give you a hint by clicking on the other one.
Don't you use the I don't know if it's a target weld, but to move one point upward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You just grab that vertex, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So just grab the vertex and then the move tool. Boom. Good old W. Good old W. Look at that. There you go. For a second, I thought you were calling us peasant. I would never call my students peasants. How dare you? How dare you insinuate this? He would not be wrong. Michelle, no. Someone who hasn't answered yet, what's the next step on making this door? What's the next step on making that door right there?
You can extrude it outwards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Boom. Boom. There you go. And then we have another lip right here. How do we make lips? Anyone want to wager? You want to make a little guess? Someone that hasn't answered, preferably.
You do another multi-cut?
Close. It's another one of those key tools, but do you remember which one you use to make like a lip? Like it's the same one we used over on this one. It's the, you're technically right. The offset in what tool though? Which tool do I use for that?
Fusion?
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So if you press Control E, let's move over chat. That's when it gives you these little options, and then that's where you find that offset slider right there. And then I usually just left click and drag on this bad boy. I usually press Control and Shift too, so it gives me like minute control over it. But yeah, let's just slide that in a little bit. Alternatively, you could also just straight up press R to scale, and you can just scale that in like that. And it looks pretty good still too. And what's the last step, guys? How do we finish off this castle?
Isn't it like adding the door now, like pushing it inwards?
Mm-hmm. And what tool would you use for that?
The extrude.
Look at that. Look at that. There you go. Simple. Freaking simple. Good shit, guys. There you go. Dang. I'm actually impressed because normally the classes get tripped up on that more. That's some good stuff, guys. Hold them EEEs. Yeah, it's just completely extrusions like all over the place, you know. That's a lot of box modeling, you know. Extrusions, multi-cuts, target welds, that's basically the whole business. And then like stuff like bridge and like fill hole are just like faster ways to do that, you know. Can I get a W in the chat? Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot my streamer instincts. I need to oh my gosh. Oh man. Very nice. Very nice. Oh yeah. All right. Well, you guys got a good handle of that. Do you guys want to go over the spoon as well before we kick off here?
I think yes, because this part I'm like struggling to understand the most is when you do that divot in the spoon.
Yeah, yeah. Faux show. Let's do it. Oh wait, Discord's popping off. Oh my god. What's happening in here? Oh man. I like it. I like it. This has just become like a meme board, basically. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So let's go over the spoon. And let's do the same thing we were doing on that castle. So what would the first step be, my friends? You guys are going to model this right in front of me right now. What is your first step?
Creating like the rectangle shape. So moving, or I don't know, I don't want to say extruding, but is it extruding?
No, I mean
the square.
Yeah.
You what? Sorry, what was that?
Make it small.
Make it small. Oh. Yep. Boom. So we're going to scale it down, make it small. Nice and small. And then what's the next step? What's the next step, y'all?
Just pull it out.
Make it long.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. And then where do we go from here? Where do we go from here, y'all?
Make it longer from the top.
But you say multi-cut.
Ooh, multi-cut. We actually do need to multi-cut something right now.
The middle one?
Yeah, perfect. Freaking perfect. Again, of the fast way of cutting down the center of something is to hold Control and middle mouse click. Boom. You see how that like snaps directly to the middle? That's just a really nice like shortcut right there. Pretty nice one. All right. And then how do we get this sort of shape started up here? Where do we go
Expand the rectangle.
Okay.
Out.
Heck yeah. Let's do it. There we go. There we go. And then
And you would multi-cut again.
Where are we multi-cutting?
Where the head of the spoon is.
Aha. Good catch. Good catch. All right. Someone who hasn't talked yet. What's our next step? I want to make sure everyone has a good idea of how to proceed. A spoon for us peasants.
Scale the surface.
Don't you make more multi-cuts?
So it multi-cuts like along this spoon, basically. So there you go. So I put one multi-cut there. What are we gonna do with that now? What are we gonna do with that?
Start selecting the vertexes and pulling them outward.
Exactly. And we could go one by one on this and just like pull out this side and then pull out this side. But then it's not super precise. Like you could eyeball it for sure. But you could also just select those and then scale outward just as easily. A spoon for oats. Exactly. The peasants need to eat. All right, so what is the next step? How are we modeling this? This one's considerably curvier.
Do you hit offset?
No.
Add another multi-cut.
Exactly. And then I'm just doing that control and then middle mouse click right on the center of those. 2 multi-cuts, exactly, yep. And you can see that it's matched up right there. Same sort of level of detail on this spoon as this one. But what do we do with these multi-cuts now?
Pull them out by the vertices or vertex. That's what they're called.
Yeah, no, you got it right. Vertices. Yeah, that's perfect. So you can just pull those out in here, right there, right there. See, y'all are getting the hang of this. Round boy, exactly. I'm just gonna round these ones out too, kind of evenly space them. There we go. Yeah, you guys are already like more than halfway done.
So just to clarify, like whenever you're adding a vertex, you have to make a cut there in order for there to be that angle, right?
Yeah, I can't just like pull on nothing right here, right? So like I would need to, if I wanted this to be a smoother shape, I would need to put in a subdivision right there and then pull out those new verts that I got.
Okay.
So yeah, it's gonna be a constant. And then every time that I make a new cut like that, I'm always gonna try to refine the shape and make it as clean as possible. But yeah, and then flashing back to our original cup challenge, like how do we make this little divot in there?
So would you select the faces on the head and then extrude?
Exactly. Because remember, extrude always gives you, especially if you offset that extrusion, it always gives you that lip, right?
Is it important to do it on both sides or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter as much on the bottom. Like we could do both sides separately, you know, because we have this sort of little flat area right here. And then we have that right here as well.
When you extrude, does it give you that like new second circle in the middle, or did you have to do you have to manually do that yourself?
It gives you that second one in the circle in the middle. So like it's basically like one second, let me undo that extrusion. So it's basically like I'm scaling in like this, right? But if I extrude first and then press R to scale in, see how it's still scaling those same faces, but it added these ones on the perimeter of it, you know?
Okay.
And if you have a real clean edge loop like this, right there, see how all those quads are kind of like linking together nicely? This is just a nice little bonus tool or a bonus tip. You can click one and then shift double click the next one, and then it will just select that whole loop right there. Just a fun little selection thing. But yeah, so there you go. There's that spoon sort of lip created. What's our next step? Someone that hasn't responded yet. Let's get the whole class in on this.
I want to say that you would like either you move it down with like, I think, scale, so that it kind of like takes the geometry with it. Yeah.
Like that, yeah. That's very close. That's very close. Put it down and scale it in. You guys are so close. That's exactly what I do. But there's one tool right before that, right? Because if I pull this down, it's kind of pulling that lip that we made down too, you know. So it's like it's losing that sort of that flat shape we had on the edges of this lip. See this one. So there's some,
extrusion.
Did you extrude again?
you guys got it. Look at that. There's like 4 people that answered that one at the same time. Hell yeah. So if I Control E, and then if I can just go back into my move tool and then move that down like you guys were saying earlier. Then scale that inward. There you go. Main takeaway is to use extrude always. Michelle, no. I mean, you like 70% of the time you're right. So so I can't really refute that. But there's, you know, there's also the multi-cut and target weld sometimes, you know. But yeah, and then we got to do the bottom. What are we doing for the bottom class? What are we doing here?
Extrude downwards.
Exactly, yeah. We can either use this blue one or just use our move tool and pull it downward.
And then scale it in.
Yeah. There you go. 80% extrude, 5% target weld, 15% multi-cut. That's actually probably accurate. Given all these, yeah, that's definitely accurate. Heck yeah. I think I think you guys got a good grasp of this. 100% spoon. Spoon.
You want us to make the circle, like the hole in the spoon too?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. That would be fantastic. Very nice. And if you wanted to do something that wasn't a spoon, then that's also fine. But I find the spoons, it's a nice little beginner challenge, you know. Like you're using all of the tools. You're using all the multi-cut. Not there. I don't think there's a single target weld in this one, but you know, target weld's more for like fixing stuff that we broke, you know. Like if I like just cut out of this, boom, right there. Push it across and then target weld, you know. It's for stuff like that. Bang. Trying to remember these steps later. Yeah, that's why I have the videos. Yeah, every lecture is going to be uploaded to YouTube, so don't worry about like if you're like, oh man, what did I remember we went over this at this point in class, then you can just check out the recording. The spoons will trigger me from here on out. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out the castle tips. Oh yeah, I could go over that again. I could go over that again for sure.
Did you go over saving again?
Yeah.
Like, are we doing save as every time?
I recommend it, yeah. I recommend it. Yeah, so every time that I save, I would go to File, Save Scene As. And
what did you say the difference was again? Because I have been saving it like Save Scene As, but what's the difference between Save Scene and Save Scene As?
Yeah, so it's like, you know, in Photoshop when you're like, oh, save or save as, you know, it's the same exact relationship. So it's like if you just press Control S to save, like that's just gonna overwrite the existing file. But if you do save as, it's always going to be like, okay, Mike's modeling obstacle course 2. So let's do that. And then if I make some cool changes, I like make this looking even nicer. That didn't really right there, but you know, I would do save scene as, and then I would do Mike's modeling obstacle course 3.
So when we finalize the thing that we're working on, when we save it as, what is the file that it's going to go under? Like Because you know
yeah.
it's not JPEG here. I've never had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
save this way.
So just some file type stuff
Mhm.
is you'll be saving as a Maya binary,
Mhm.
and you have two options: Maya ASCII or Maya binary. So you see, it's going to try to save as a .ma if I try to save it like that. A .mb is they're the same exact thing. One's just in zeros and ones, and then one is in like actual text that you can open up.
So there's no like equivalent for like a JPEG. It's just
yeah, the 3D equivalent of a JPEG would instead be something called an OBJ. And in order to make an OBJ, you have to export selection. And FBX is another very default file type, but OBJ is like the most like basic 3D file type. So we're gonna go more into that when we're like sending stuff over to like different programs, you know, because different programs can't open up Maya binaries, you know, because it's like a Maya thing. Maya specific file type, but OBJs and FBXs can be opened up by anything.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Nice. My internet cutting in and out. Oh, Sydney, no. Sydney, did you need did you need help on the castle still?
Yeah, I wanted to know how you did the castle tips again.
Oh yeah. So what stage of the castle are you on? Is it like, are you like starting from the cylinder right now?
I did the door and cylinder already. I just have the roof here.
And okay, so the basically we have, what I want to do is extrude these shapes out, right? I need to extrude those little box shapes out. However, I don't have geometry to extrude from on this top right here. And so the best way to do that is with making like a lip, right? And so let's do this, Control E, and then I can either scale or offset, same thing. It's gonna do the same thing in this situation. There you go. So now you have that little lip, and you can select every other one of these and then Control E, and boom, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, if you need me to go over it again, just feel free to ask.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So on that last part with the spoon, when you smoothed it out, are you literally just hitting like mesh and then smooth?
Wait, like when I did this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just that's smooth preview, which is 3. It's like the 3 button.
Oh, okay.
So if you press 3 on that, it's gonna make it smooth. But notice how like weird parts of it get stretched out, you know?
So do we not smooth it out? We just keep it?
Yeah, just keep it like this, and that's fine. If you really want to get like a nice polished spoon, you can insert what is called retaining edge loops. See how like right here, I have like a few more edge loops that I put on this thing. So if I go to multi-cut, and if I put an edge loop right here, because like notice how if I press 3, it's like pulling that edge super far away. It's making this shape weird. If I insert another edge loop there and then press 3, it's still pulling that edge further away, but it's kind of more defining that shape. Same goes for like this lip. So if I insert an edge loop right here, boom, and then another edge loop right here, bang, and then press 3, see how it's kind of getting, it's retaining that sort of lip shape right there, rather than making that like pillowy sort of aesthetic on that. So yeah, so those are retaining edge loops. I don't require that for this project, but if you want to get fancy with it, then go for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, these first 2 classes are pretty heavy. Just because it's like you haven't done any 3D stuff before. But yeah, you'll just keep grinding on it. and then you'll get there eventually. You just got to wrap your mind around the fact that like you have to just describe the shape, right? And you only have a few tools to do that. Did you upload the class recording on Beachboard? No, I upload it on YouTube. So I usually, like, after class is done, it needs to translate that recording, and then then I upload it to YouTube, and it takes a while to get up there. Usually it's up the day after. But yeah, so you can always watch it back, and then I like the way in this Bruce. And yeah, so yeah, I'll link to it on the Discord, and yeah, it'll be there for you anytime. I also have the more concise version. So if you're able to, like, I don't want you guys to sift through a bunch of hours of me talking if you don't have to, but yeah. No problem. Yeah, I'll try to find the link to this on my YouTube after class, like the more concise version. But yeah, well, class is officially done. But if anyone's like, I have a question still, then I'm free to, I'm down to answer it. Yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know. Otherwise,
And you said, what are your office hours? I'm sorry.
Oh, office hours are the hour before class. I'll just be in Discord. I'll be hanging out in this office hours chat.
That's right. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Have a good night.
No problem. You too.
Thanks, Mike.
Have a
Thank
good one,
you
guys.
so much. Have a good night, Professor.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a
Thank
good
you
one.
so much. Have a good night.
See you next week, y'all.
I have a quick question, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you going to be turning this in?
You'll basically, I have like a little Dropbox on Beachboard opened up, and then you will just send that file over. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that at the beginning of class next week. So yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
No problem. See you later.
So I'm gonna be honest. I missed entirely when you were talking about I don't know if it's picking up on me anymore.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious about how you broke into doing God of War and stuff like that, because I missed it completely because my internet.
Dude, yeah, it sucks, man. I'm sorry that your internet's whack. Yeah, I got into God of War. I was a student at CSULB, and then I just took a bunch of time to polish up my reel, and then I applied with the one that I showed. And then it was to an internship. That's like where I started. And then they liked what I was doing, so then they kept me on for the full project after the internship. And then I got promoted up to the next level after that as well during that project. So it was, yeah, just that sort of kind of a linear journey. But yeah, it was just applying to an internship. So I really recommend internships. They're amazing.
That sounds really cool. Do you know I don't know where I would apply for an internship like that. Do I just like Google it?
Yeah.
Or how did you come across it?
Glassdoor has some opportunities like that. I just checked out a bunch of like studios pages. I used monster.com. It's just a bunch of those job websites, and then I found one that was like animation intern at Sony Santa Monica, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And then then I applied, and it was life-changing. But yeah,
I'm really enjoying this class already.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. It gets more fun after this, because like this is kind of more like button clicky stuff, but pretty soon we get more into the art side of things. So. But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. That was just my question.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I'm glad you're in the class, man. I'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Night.